welcome to the Kelcast, the Hearthstone Arena podcast, where we try to get better without cursing. I'm Keldar, a longtime Infinite Arena leaderboard player and streamer on Twitch. Joining me as my co-host is another Infinite player, Kellen Abel. Remember, if you want to find us on social media, you can search for Keldar on Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter. That's Keludar. Or you can Google the Kelcast to find the podcast and listen to it there. All right, Kellen, it's one of our favorite episodes. What are we doing this week?
It's the set review. It's the United and Stormwind set review. It's our first opportunity to look at the cards, tell you what they do, and tell you what we think they will do in your arena matches. We got a lot of cards to go through, and we use a 5-star system to rate these cards. Cards that are fantastic, absolute first picks, things you want to take and out of every pack they're offered in. Those are the 5-star type of cards. So anything like what's a good example? Fool's Bane was a good example. Light Bomb, any of these cards that are large, Psychic Scream, large removal spells, things that have a huge impact on the game, cards that single-handedly take over games by themselves. 4-star cards are cards that are going to pull you into a direction or make you think that you want to build around them or with them. So things like True Silver Champion, cards like I'll give it to you, Sunwell Initiate, cards with really strong abilities that are not going to single-handedly make your deck great, but will help you improve the quality of your deck overall. 3-star cards are cards that are going to be right in the middle of the pack, things that are going to be slightly above average, but not by a ton. So that's like, let's go with Lazy Peon, something like that. So it's a card that you want in your deck, you're happy to include it, but you're not actively seeking them out. 2-star cards are cards that are more like a River Croc. If a Lazy Peon is a 3, a River Croc is a 2. Cards you'll put in your deck, but you'd really rather have the upgraded version or something a little better in their spot. And cards that are a 1-star are the cards you never ever want to include in your deck, but unfortunately sometimes Hearthstone makes you play them. So in most formats, that would be something like an Iron Beak Owl. Now I know there's some controversy with that right now, but any of the cards that are understated, overcosted, things like that, or honestly, most of the time, designed for constructed. So that's where you're going to see your 1-star cards. We have another little thing we like to do. We do half stars. So if a card's straddling the line between 2 different stars, if we think it's a bomb, but it's not going to win you the game like a Ceramite, well, that's probably a 4.5. If we think it's almost a great card, but really it's just better than your average 3-drop, that's probably a 3.5. So we're gonna make some small, slight changes to our ratings based on those little details. But our star system is pretty much 1 is bad, 5 is good, and we'll make it clear why we talk about that. One thing I want to make sure you understand is the most important part about what we do here is our discussion about the card, not the actual star rating. The star rating is not a be-all, end-all. So if you see a 5 and a 4 in the same pack, it is possible the 4 will be better in your deck, and you should make sure you understand why we gave the card that rating rather than just automatically picking the 5, because some decks will need that 4 more than they'll need that 5, although more often you'll probably want that 5.
Yeah, and it, like I said, certain cards might have more conditions, but we'll rate them based on what we think is best. And sometimes a card might not look good, but based on other cards in the meta and stuff, it might be slightly better. And we'll have to kind of take some of that into account when we do our half stars. That's why we have the half stars, like he was saying. So we're about to find out if me and Kellen are going to be like Sunwell Initiate type of reviewers, or if we're going to be like Morshan Watchpost type of reviewers and get inflamed. So I'm excited to see what happens. So
and one of our strengths is going fast. So these cards are going to be quick. We're going to go through them fast. We'll give you our quick rundown, and then we are moving on. So here we go.
All right. And right before we get into the actual cards themselves, I just want to quickly mention the sets coming out on August 3rd. And there's also going to be an arena rotation. So I'm really excited to announce that Ashes of Outland and Skullomance are going to be rotating out of Arena. So they're actually switching it from 2 wild sets to 3 wild sets. I'm just going to read the sets that are going to be in Arena real fast. I will definitely be I might do a meta prep before the release just for fun solo, just to go through some cards if you guys want to look forward to that. So maybe if you want to know some of the cards that are entering the meta from older sets, I'll be throwing that down as well. So here are the sets we got. We have the core set, Rastakhan's Rumble, Saviors of Eldam, the Witchwood. We have the Dark Moon Races, Madness at Dark Moon Fair, as well as the mini set. And then we have Forged in the Barrens along with the Wailing Caverns mini set. And then lastly, of course, United in Stormwind. All right, so let's go to it. We're going to start with Demon Hunter. The first card we have on the docket here is Metamorphin. He is a 1-mana 1/2 Murloc with Taunt, Battlecry. If you've cast a Fel spell this turn, gain +2/+2.
So this card is pretty dependent on how your draft has gone. The spell schools are pretty new. They came about, very recently this year. And we haven't seen a ton of Fel spells yet in Demon Hunter. Honestly, every set that Metamorphin is in, every draft you're going to have him in is going to be different based on what sets are available. If you're in a draft that has a lot of Fel spells, a draft format, I should say, I would probably consider this card a little more highly. But overall, I think this card is going to be weak because the condition that it requires for it to be cast means it's not actually a 1-drop. It's an additional 1 mana tacked on to a Fel spell. As a 1 mana 1/2 taunt, it's extremely understated. And if you trigger its Battlecry, it is slightly overstated, but not by enough for me to think of it as a card I definitely want in my deck. I would give this card a 2. I would play it, but I would want a more of a, I don't know. I would want to know I had the Fel spells first.
Yeah. I am going to make a slight argument only because based on, I mean, I'm not trying to throw my weight around, but I've had ridiculous success with Demon Hunter. And one thing I'll say is 1 mana cards like this with upside are actually, I think, a kind of card you might want in your deck. No, I don't think this card's like really highly rated, but I might give this like a 2.5 or a 3 only because I think 1-drops are like really, really great to have in Demon Hunter, and the upside's not bad. So I might go with at least a 2.5, but I definitely.
Yeah, I look at it as a Goldshire Footman. It's just or something like that. It's just not a card I'm actively seeking to be in my deck. And if that's the case, yeah, I could see it being a 3 in the right deck if you already have enough Fel spells.
I'm thinking I'm going to go 2.5 though.
Deck.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick with 2 on this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, 2.5. That's good. Yeah. All right, just kidding. All right, so next we've got Sigil of Alacrity. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Alacrity. Thank you. It is a 1-mana shadow spell. They're really trying to push these. It's at the start of your next turn, draw a card and reduce its cost by 1. I think this is a really interesting card. You're delaying a draw, but you're gaining the mana back. So it's interesting because I don't think you typically in Arena, like you want to be able to actively draw the card when you want to draw the card, but this does give you a cheap cycle, and Demon Hunter typically does, the way I've been able to play decks, you can float mana in pretty easily. So what do you think of this card? I think it's interesting. I'm not sure if it's great or very good, but I think it's definitely a little bit better than it might appear.
Yeah, I think, I don't think it's great. I think it's pretty average. Yeah. It does do one thing really well in letting you use your extra mana on a turn without costing you anything, because it is a 0 mana spell over time. It's just that it costs you that one, that you get that mana back on a future turn. So I think it's a 3. I have no issues with it. It's not bad. It's not good. I'll put it in my deck, but it's not going to make a big difference on whether I win or lose. It's just going to be an average card that sometimes lets me use extra mana, which is its strength, and sometimes allows me to have better curves in the future where I'm able to play something a turn early. Yeah, so I think those two upsides give it the 3-star rating.
I agree with the 3-star rating 100%, and I think that this card, like I said, particularly in Demon Hunter, because they have the cheaper hero power and the way that decks are built typically, I think this card can work. And it kind of reminds me of like an Overload almost, like in a way. It's kind of like throwing an Overload into another class kind of. It's kind of interesting. So, like I said, it'll be a draftable card. This is a card I'm interested to mess around with. I'm going to say that much. So we'll see.
It's fun to draft for sure.
Right. So we have a lot of Fel spells, by the way, coming up. So the next card is Fel Barrage. It's a 2-mana Fel spell. Deal 2 damage to the lowest health enemy twice. Can I just say real quick, this is one of the few cards that I looked at that I love this card design. Like I'm not like, we can argue how good the card is, but this is one of those cards that you have to solve a puzzle, right? Like you might actually trade into a minion just to make sure it is the lowest health minion so you can actually trigger this on it. And I love cards like this. These are really fun for Arena. So anyway, what do you think of this card?
I think this card is a 4. I believe it's dealing 4 damage for 2 mana, which in the Flame Cannon sense has always been good. It's more targetable than Flame Cannon. The only downside to this is when you're unable to clear up smaller minions, but that's actually one of Demon Hunter's strengths. Because of its cheap hero power, your ability to clean up the small stragglers that are left behind by death rattles or by that value trades is higher than the average class. So I think that makes Fel Barrage a 4-star card because you're able to pick your targets so much more effectively than what its text actually suggests.
Yeah, I was gonna go with the 3.5 only because I can see the strength of this card. If it hits what you want every time, is definitely a 4. I'm a little nervous that there might be board states where you cannot get to what you need to with it. So it's hard for me to go to a 4 because the condition could honestly be pretty awkward. But 3.5, 4, I think it's going to be a very solid card, and I think it's like I said, card design wise, like this is a thumbs up Blizzard. This is I like cards like this. I want more cards like that require you to think about board states when you play them. So I'm excited to mess around with this card. Next, we've got Chaos Leech, 3 mana Fel spell, Life Steal. Deal 3 damage to a minion, and if it's outcast, deal 5 instead. So it's interesting. Like we can, a comparison we can make is like there's been a lot of 3 mana deal 4 in the past, and those cards have kind of gotten a little bit worse with time with power creep. And this does have an outcast, but Lifesteal in Demon Hunter is really good. It's really strong because you want to use your hero power, and sometimes those pings are kind of expensive. And it's still a lot of times deal 5 damage. And even at 3, it's not great. But I'd probably give this card like it's probably a 3.5 just because of the outcast. But I really like this card. I think that it doesn't appear as good as it is just because Lifesteal is really important for Demon Hunter. So what do you think of this card?
Yeah, I think I'd give it a 3. I think the extra mana cost on there. I mean, in the same set. We have a card that costs 1 less and deals 4. With the last card we reviewed in Fel Barrage. So I think I'd give this a 3. I do agree that Lifesteal is very important in Demon Hunter because of your hero power, but as a whole, this is not a card I'm going to fight to get to Outcast for. So if it's in my mid-hand or if it's something in my opener, it's going to be a 3 mana deal 3 most of the time, and that's a hard card for me to want to play. If it does hit the Outcast, I'll be pretty happy with it, and I think that's why it gets up to a 3 because of the Outcast.
Yeah. All right, 3.5, something in that range there. So, All right. So next we've got these I think generally now we haven't evaluated all of them yet. This is our first one, but this is a themed card that they have this type of I guess it's almost like thinking of it like an extra little thing in your. It's not like it's not like a typical weapon is what I'm trying to say. And anyway, these don't seem like they're going to be really good, but maybe we'll find one that's amazing. I don't know. So this is Lion's Frenzy. It's a 3 mana 0/2 weapon. It has attack equal to the number of cards you've drawn this turn. So this card, I mean, now obviously Demon Hunter has access to a lot of the best draw cards in the whole game. But that being said, in Arena, generally this card is most of the time going to be a 1-attack minion or 1-attack weapon for 3 mana, which is actually just garbage. So yeah. I would give this. I guess I'd give this I don't know if I should even give it a 1.
I think it's a 1.
I was going to give it a half star, but.
Yeah. It's a constructed card. It's exactly what we were talking about with ones. It's a card that's designed for constructed. It makes Sigil of Alacrity better, but the idea of having enough cards, a critical mass of cards to make your Lion's Frenzy good 2 times is just unlikely. So yeah, I don't think I'm interested in taking a Lion's Frenzy unless... I don't even know what would have to happen. I'd have to have 2 acrobatics, a Sigil of Alacrity or 3, and then also a Skull of Gul'dan. And then I can't actually win the game anyways because my deck will just be in my hand and I won't be able to do anything. So
yeah, and even then it's not that great because you have to they have to pull the combo off. It's important. This is a very good. I'm just going to bring this out real fast, but this is a point of why if a card isn't, some cards in Arena, the upside of cards is great, but they have to at least be a fair card by themselves. If this was a 3 mana 2/2, maybe you'd take it a little bit more often, but it's just too bad without the condition.
As a 3 mana 1/2, it's not worth it. So.
All right, so next we've got Felgorger. It's a 4 mana 4/3 demon. Battle cry, draw a Fel spell, reduce its cost by 2.
Felgorger. It's gorging on Fel.
Oh, Gorger.
Deeply consuming the Fel.
All right. What do you think of this one, Callan?
I kind of like it actually. I think it's a very good card. Having a 4 mana 4/3 is slightly overcosted for what we're currently used to seeing, but having a draw attached to it is lovely. And having it be a draw that also reduces cost means we can look at Felgorger in some games as a 2 mana 4/3 that draws you a card.
Yeah.
That's insane. So I would give this card a at least a 4, and I would consider a 4.5 for this. But it does require a certain amount of deck building. If you are unable to put more than 2 spells in your deck, it's going to lose its value quickly. If you can get to 2 or more, it's going to be quite good. Man, and it's also a demon. It's got that extra tag. I think that's enough stuff for me to give this a 4.5. I think this isn't a bomb, but it's a card in the same vein as something like Oil Rig Ambusher or something, where the upsides just keep hitting. Every single part in this card just keeps being better. You get a fell card. Its cost is reduced by 2. It's a demon. It just has all these little triggers that add up to a 4.5 for me. I think, yeah, that's where I'm at.
I actually agree with you on the 4 aspect of it, only because I don't think it's like really easy to get fell spells in general. Though I will admit, I think you'll draft them a little more because of this. And I don't think I mentioned this, but this is an epic, and now the way they've changed epics, you will be able to draft fell spells knowing that you'll probably see one of these because it's going to act like a common card. So that's something to think about. I do really like this card because one thing I noticed from the last set with the Dungeoneer cards that we talked about with Wailing Caverns is that this card, drawing a specific type of card in Arena can actually be really great because it actually gives you information about when you play it, this is what I can draw.
Right. It's a tutor effect. You're tutoring up a card. You're searching for a specific thing. So
right.
That is
So
very powerful.
I think I like the 4 just because, again, I don't. It might actually end up being a 4.5. You might be right. But I do think this card is a game changer. It's pretty fun. I just don't know how consistently you'll be able to get fell spells. They did put a lot of them in this set for sure. We'll see. Yeah. So this will be an interesting one. Kellen might be right. It might be a little bit better than I think.
It's gonna. I could see. It's more, honestly, this card feels like a 4.25, but we don't.
Yeah. Okay, so here's our first tradable card. I just want to very briefly mention what it does in case you haven't been following the podcast. Tradable is a new mechanic in the game where at any point you can take the card, you click and drag it over to your deck, and basically for 1 mana, you put that card back in your deck and you draw another. So very cool mechanic. In fact, one of the best arena mechanics in a long time because it's very useful to like use your unused mana, and it allows you to take cards that are very situational that normally wouldn't be good. Now all that being said, this is not one of them because this is a terrible card. But I just want to bring that up since it's our first tradable. So this is a 4 mana 4/3 persistent peddler. It's tradable. Its death rattle is summon a persistent peddler from your deck. So, the thing is, I think it's going to be too hard to get multiples of these. The tradable's okay, but you need this card to at least be a 4/4 or something. I don't know. I would give this like a 1.5. I think
I think that's insane. I think all tradable cards start at 2.5. I think they start at 2.5 because they're a split card that has an option.
That's true. I guess. I mean, I guess it is true that the fact that you can trade at any point is a plus. I get that. Maybe you're right about the 2.5 thing, but
this card is if you completely remove the death rattle. Because I don't think that's a super relevant thing. Some decks that death rattle is going to matter, but I wouldn't view that as a relevant part of the card for most draft decks. Yeah. Although that if you do have it, it goes significantly better, of course. But if you have a card that's a split card that says 1 mana draw card or 4 mana 4/3, I think that card's already a 3 just because of those. It's a split card that gives you those 2 options. I don't think either option is very good, but the ability to have that choice, I think, brings it up to exactly an average card because both sides are underpowered, but the fact that you get to choose increases the total value.
I mean, I admit that being able to cycle a card, but like, wouldn't you rather just have a better card than having to cycle one that you don't want? I agree.
But that's the point. You get to find another card. If a 4 mana 4/3 isn't good, you get to cycle it and then find another card you want to play.
But if you had a better card, then you wouldn't necessarily have to cycle it, and it wouldn't matter. I'm not saying that. I agree with your point that the tradable cards definitely, in general, probably are just better, even if they're not great cards. But I can't go above a 2.5 on this one But
So well, hold on. That's a very important point what you just said, because
yeah,
you mentioned that I would rather have a better card, but I'm not saying you take this over a good card. I'm not saying you take it over a
yeah,
4 or a 5. I'm saying you take it over if you take Persistent Peddler over
mm,
all the 2.5s. I would take Persistent Peddler over any 2.5 I ever saw. Wouldn't you?
mm.
Because it's tradable. If you had a pack full of 2.5s, which 2.5 would you take? The
Well, I
one that
mean,
has tradable or
it's
the
hard
other
to say
thing?
that because you might need curve or something. I mean, I'm not, again, I understand. I am agreeing with your point about just the fact that it is tradable gives it a certain inherent amount of value. I think that's a good point and something to bring up early. I'm glad you mentioned it. I don't think it brings me above a 2.5, but
Interesting.
I agree with that part of what you're saying for sure. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm strongly of the opinion that that cards that have reasonable stats and have tradable are going to be threes
I
at
guess I
least for
just
me.
don't see this as reasonable. That's the only reason I'm dropping it to like. I would agree that like a tradable could be almost a 3 even most of the time. But if it was a 4-4, I might give it a 3 or something. But it's just this is a the stats. It's pretty understated. So, but again,
Okay.
well, I might be wrong, but we'll see.
We'll see.
It's a
We'll
cool.
see.
This is a good one to talk about because I'm glad that that came up with your point because I think that's a thing that I didn't really consider. So that's a good point on your
Gotcha.
part. All right, so Ironbound Brute is a I like this card. 7 mana, 6/7 demon. Taunt. Cost 1 less for each card drawn this turn. So generally,
Ooh.
this card will be a Boulder Fist with Taunt every turn. You're never going to not draw a card.
Yeah.
I guess I don't think there's a mechanic. I don't think there's a way that can happen. So anyway, you can basically look at it as a 6 mana 6/7, but then it has the upside where it's like if you play Skull of Gul'dan, which I'm not even sure if that's in the arena now, to be honest with
Yeah.
the rotation, but regardless, if you draw 3 cards, all of a sudden, or even if you just let's say we draw 2 cards, all of a sudden you basically are saving that mana. It's like allowing you to throw that into the card where it's like now this card draws 2 cards for the mana cost as well. So
Yeah.
I think this card is really good. I like the 7 health and the 6 attack for 6 for a taunt is a really high
Mhm.
attack and health in my opinion. I think this card's I don't know if maybe 4.5 is too high, but
Whoa.
I think it's at least I think it is, but I think it's a 4.
Yeah, I'd go 3.5 on this card. What I really like about it is that the way I'm reading it and is that it makes all of your tradables free this turn. So you can trade any card for free the turn you play Ironbound Brute.
Oh, good
Uh,
point. Yeah.
so it's a 6 mana 6/7 that lets you trade any card that's tradable for free. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I think that's good. I think it's above average. I still would put this card at a at a 3.5. It's above what I want in my deck, but it's not something that I'm going to be actively seeking out outside of curve considerations.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kellen says 3.5. I say 4. Pretty close, but I
Dude,
think
this
this
is the
card's
first time we've been off by half a point each time. This is really crazy. This is the
well.
first time
We
ever.
we okay to stop real quick. I do think that this is partly. I think that you look at cards a little bit. I tend to take an upside of a card and give a little bit more than you do generally, not overall. I mean, again, I think a lot of times where I look at things as a 3, you see that as a 2.5. I think that's just generally we're kind of off that way when we. I know we tried to set it that way, but that's just sort of how we are. It's fine. I mean, it'll makes it good for it makes it for good discussion, but I think we're just kind of off a little, like a half point or something, generally in overall. So
Interesting.
yeah. So this time we've got Jace Darkweaver is the legendary from this set. It's an 8 mana 7/5. Battle cry, cast all spell spells you've played this game, in parentheses, target enemies if possible. So interesting.
Yeah, it's super deck dependent. If you have a bunch of fell spells, if you're able to draft like 6 or 7, I think this card's a fantastic card. I don't know if we really need to give much of a
Yeah.
star rating for this one because it's just so purely deck dependent. If you don't
Yeah.
have fell spells, this card will literally not do anything. So that's kind
Yeah.
of where you're stuck.
I would definitely say that you don't want to draft this. Now, this is probably going to be up. They do, for whatever reason, still bucket legendary cards. I don't know why, but they still group the cards in legendaries together. Like you're going to see good legendaries or bad legendaries. And, but yeah, I mean, this card, you'd have to see it after pick like 20 to really be confident about this card, in my opinion. It's going to be really hard to take it early. So yeah, it's probably like I don't know. I mean, this card's
It's
impossible to
a 4 in
rate.
the right deck. Yeah, it's a
It's
4 in the right deck.
it's a
When
two,
most
one
decks
and a
are
half or
1.
2 in a lot of decks, and then
Yeah.
it's a 4. And if you drafted late and you have 5 spells already that are fell. So like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, we're not going to really worry about a rating, but it's an interesting card nonetheless. So all
Hey,
right.
first class done. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's go on to one of my favorite classes, and probably everyone that's listening's least favorite class because of how annoying it is right now. Druid. Um, so the first card that we've got is I love this card.
Oh my God, I have not seen. Okay,
Okay.
read it.
It's a 1-mana nature spell, Sow the Soil. Choose one. Give your minions +1 attack or summon a 2/2 trinket. Can I take this one, please?
Oh, go for it. We're gonna love this card.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Me and Kellen are gonna love this card. So this will bring back some podcasts we did too. So we just can say generally that a 1-mana 2/2 in Druid is just great by itself. So like the fact that it can always be a 1-mana 2/2 is unbelievable. But now when you need a ping the most, you've got a ping just sitting in your hand, and there's times where you'll lose a little value because you won't get the 2/2, but the extra attack will be absolutely fantastic. I would. I'm gonna get too excited. You might have to pull me down a little bit here, but I'm gonna give this one a 4.
Oh no, I'm 100% with you. This card is absolutely amazing. Have you? I think one of the cards that people undervalue frequently is Branching Paths. This card gives you the most often chosen Branching Paths option for 1 mana. It's absolutely ridiculous. Just the fact that you can cast this. It also has the ability to trigger nature things. It's a nature spell.
Yep.
It's a 1-mana nature spell, so it allows you to trigger things for cheap. It gives you a 2/2 Treant, which has whatever synergies happen for the current set that's out.
Yeah.
And giving all of your minions +1 attack is insane sometimes. That can literally mean lethal in the current state of Druid.
Kellen,
what?
I'm so sorry. I have to be honest. I actually didn't see the plural. I thought it was minion, which I still was excited about, but it's minions. Okay, wait a minute. Is this a 4.5 then?
It's close. I think this card is a 4 because its overall impact on a game is going to be limited, but man, it is close to a 4.5. I don't know what I'll take over Sow the Soil, but it's not a lot.
And here's one thing I will say. So with the core set being gone, we lost Savage Roar, and in general, in all classes, I gotta say one thing. I've learned something from this previous meta. Reach is so good right now mostly because it's so much harder to find. There's no bloodlust.
Reach and burst damage.
There's no charge anymore. So any kind of burst damage in any way you can find it is really good. And I'd say that you would probably want to like trigger it. But on top of it, this card not only gives you the burst at an end of a game when you spread, but you can just get a 2/2 and have your first turn be good. Really good. So
having a curve card that's good later, I honestly...
I want to give this a 4.5. I'm doing it.
I'm with you. I think this card is that powerful. It's not going... I'm with you. 4.5. This card is absolutely fantastic. I love it. I will play it every time I see it. It's amazing.
I'm so excited about this card. I lost Savage Roar, but this is a little bit of a consolation prize. All right, so next we've got... Oh, I love this card too. 1 mana 2/1 beast. It's a vibrant squirrel. It's a death rattle. Shuffle 4 acorns into your deck. When drawn, they summon a 2/1 squirrel. This card, this is like Acorn Bearer on crack in some ways. It is. Well, I guess it's not because you can't play them right away, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess it's not as good as Acorn Bearer when I think about it because it's not immediate, but man, it's a pretty good way to like. It's kind of like a mini. What is that? It's like a mini the rogue cards that summon like the bears or summon the spiders, the spooters, you know. But it's like so much cheaper, but even though it's smaller, like that allows it to be so what do you think about this card? I'll let you rate this one, but I like this card.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a 3. The value of getting free 2/1s is not very high. It is something that is wonderful, and I will happily do it. I like to put this card in my deck. This card could bump up to a 3.5 for me based on how the games play out and how important having an extra minion will be. Although Sow the Soil, the card we just reviewed, does give me a suggestion that I will like Vibrant Squirrel more. You know, so on the strength of that alone, I think I will give it a 3.5.
I like 3.5.
1 mana 2/1 with upside is a 1 mana 2/1 with upside is right in the 3 range. And I think the way Druid plays right now gives it that extra half point where you having a minion when you start your turn is really valuable. So yeah, I think 3.5 is fine.
I think it's fair, and you know, I got to say, so far what I'm seeing, these are some pretty interesting designs. They're not like as boring as I've been seeing. So I'm so far I'm kind of getting excited about what I'm seeing. Again, we're basically looking at these cards like pretty fresh, just so you guys know. I barely saw any of these.
I saw none of them on purpose. I hid them from myself.
So next we have Composting, a 2-mana nature spell. This one's also very interesting. And this is an epic, by the way. Give your minions Death Rattle, draw a card. This card is really interesting. Go ahead. I'll let you take this one too.
I think this card's fine. It's most often going to be 2 mana, draw 2 cards over the next 4 turns, or 2 mana, draw 4 cards over the next 6 turns or whatever. There's going to be games where you're able to trigger this, and it's going to feel like it's the best card ever because you drew 40 cards, but then, or 4 cards or whatever off of it. But then you're going to look back and realize that you missed that tempo turn on the turn you cast it, and you ended up falling behind on tempo, and everybody has cards right now, so it's been compensated. Some of the strengths of the Druid cards we did earlier we talked about earlier is their tempo cards that do not cost you additional mana to do their effects. So, or their effects can be undercosted for their mana value. I think composting, drawing you cards is wonderful, but the cost of it, the actual mana cost, and the non-immediate card generation. I mean, we look at Arcade Intellect now, and we don't even see a card we want to play. So, I think composting it's going to be right around like a 2.5. I'm not unhappy with it in my deck. I'm not unhappy with it, but I'm going to be looking for something that fits my curve or affects my actual game plan a little stronger.
Yeah, I think I would also rate it at 2.5. And again, this is another reminder to people that just because we're rating it at 2.5 does not mean that there's decks that you're drafting where this is going to be like a 4 to you when you draft it because of you get the perfect token build and blah, blah, blah. So just remember, we're basing it based on a regular, like an average board state, average blah, 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 and all that things. But again, this card can be potentially really solid. And I think for 2 mana, I think I just slightly disagree with you that I think it can get a little bit more value more often, but I don't think it's great. I think 2.5 is a very fair rating. So
yeah, I think if a deck has 4 vibrant squirrels in it, I'm going to take every composting I see.
I think we'll see how much spread you can get.
Very deck dependent. Very deck dependent.
Yeah, for sure. So these cards, again, I like to give them misnomers with these because the ratings, some of these cards are just hard to rate. Now, this one's really interesting. I did see this one. 2 mana, 1/4 beast, Wicker Claw. Let me say it again. It's a Wicker Claw. It's a 2 mana, 1/4 beast. After your hero gains attack, this minion gains +2 attack. So,
I don't like this card for Arena. It's perfectly fine. It's serviceable, but I don't want 2 mana 1/4s in my deck, especially 2 mana 1/4s that required me to spend 2 mana on my hero power on turn 3. Yeah. I just don't think, unless you have a deck with triple pounce or something, I just don't see Wicker Claw really getting overpowered. And the problem with 4 health, even if you're able to spend 2 mana on a hero power, pounce, and then do one other thing later, your opponent still kills it with a trade. So you're actually spending 4 mana for a 3/4 most times with Wicker Claw, and I don't find that to be a great Arena card. I'd give this card a 2. I think it's serviceable as a 2 mana 1/4 that has an upside. It's fine, but I'd rather have a 2 mana 2/3 with an ability. This feels very much like a River Croc in most situations to me.
Yeah. I think you're even being, I'll be honest, I think you're actually being a little generous, which I don't think I think it 2 is fine. I'm just saying, I agree with you that this card, I will admit I'm being a little bit wooed by, like, again, I think this is a cool card design. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's a good card. I'm just saying that I see like some diversity in what they're doing with the cards, and that to me, it means that you have to think about why would you draft this and that kind of thing. I think that's a positive for the game overall. So interesting card, but we'll give it a 2. All right, next we have Oracle of Elune. Is a 3 mana 2/4. It's an epic card. After you play a minion that costs 2 or less, summon a copy of it. I don't think this card's very good. The problem with this card is that the stats that you have to play it are not very good. The other problem with this card is, now if it said summon, that would obviously change things because you could summon your squirrels and then they would summon more squirrels kind of thing. But you have to play a minion that's 2 or less, so that also lowers it. I'd give this card, I guess, just on stats and sometimes an upside, I'd probably just give this a 2.
Yeah,
But
I'd give it a 2 in an average deck, and I'd give it a 4 in the right deck. It just depends on
do you
how
really
many
think it can
one.
get that out of hand though? I just don't see that card can. I think it's interesting to talk about where it could get to. I just don't think it's ever going to get that. I just don't know if you can get that many cards that would make this that good.
If you go on turn 4 this plus a 1-drop, or turn 5 this plus a 2-drop, that's a really good turn. So I think that I think those, if you view this as a more expensive card, I think it's
right.
It's
That's where it's balanced, is that the fact that it's a little, it's like
not
one. It's
yeah.
if this was like a 2 mana 1, like if a 2 even if the stats were low, if this was like a 2 mana 1/3 or something, it might actually be pretty good. But anyway, interesting card. Again, another cool design. So, all right, moving on. We've got our first mount card. So this is one of the mechanics you could say in the set, is that these mount cards exist in, I think it's in every class. We'll find out, but
not Demon Hunter, right? So
so not every class. So, but these are mounts where basically you put a buff on something and then it leaves the idea is that you get knocked off the mount and then the mount is left behind. Is kind of the theme of it. So we have Kodo Mount. It's a 4 mana Druid spell. Give a minion +4/+2 and rush. When it dies, summon a Kodo, which is a 4/2
with
rush. Oh yeah, with rush, by the way. So go ahead, Kellen.
This card's fantastic. It's going to give anything that's left on the board the ability to. I would look at this card as 4 mana, deal. If you control a minion, 4 mana, deal 4 damage to a minion, and summon a 4/2 rush. That card's fantastic. It's a 4 mana cheaper. In most of the times you'll actually cast the card, it's like what's the Murloc Fishy Flyer. Yeah. It's not equivalent to Fishy Flyer because it does require you to have a minion on the battlefield, but this card is a card I'd be very, very happy to put in my deck. It makes me very scared about leaving anything up on the opposing board, and it makes that Acorn, Vibrant Squirrel card.
Oh yeah.
Better. Yes. So I'd give this card, I think, a 4. It's a 3.5 or a 4.
I think it's a 4.
I think it could be a 4. Yeah, I'm down with that. It's 8/4 rush for 4 mana. That's rough. That's good.
Well, here's an interesting little side note that I thought about while we were looking at this card and you were talking. The fact that it gives +2 health and not more health actually makes this card better because it's easier to kill it off, which actually makes this, weirdly enough, it would actually be even more better. It would actually be a better card if it was +4/+1. Or +4.
I don't know. I think the more stats, the better. And it's going to be, there are games where that will matter, but I think on the whole, I'd rather just have, the more stats I'd appreciate. I mean, I'd rather my minion didn't die and then they had to attack into it or something. But
and if anyone doesn't know, for lore purposes, all of these mounts are basically the mercenaries on top of it. So like the actual card that comes out of it is called Guff's Kodo and stuff. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah. So pretty cool. Another interesting card. So, all right. So next we've got Park Panther. It's a 4 mana 4/4 beast with rush. Whenever this attacks, give your hero +3 attack this turn. Ooh, I like this card, Kellen.
Have you heard of Storm Strike? Because this is better than that.
It is better. Yeah, I'm pulling myself back here.
Yeah, there was Savage Combatant that came out a while back. I don't know if you remember Savage Combatant. Savage Combatant was a 4 mana 5/4 that had Inspire +2, give your hero +2 attack. That card was absolutely insane. This card is equivalent to that card. If this card gets to live, it is an absolute must kill. So if you're able to kill something small, which is likely, and then to kill something medium with your hero attacking because you attacked already, that is fantastic. And guess what? It is, if you just look at it as a 4 mana deal 7 and your hero takes damage equal to that character's power, I would absolutely take that card and be happy with it. And that's the worst case scenario for this card. So I would view this card as a 4.5. I think this is the best possible rare that they could have printed for Hunter. It's also, or for Druid, it's a beast. It triggers every little thing. I would love to have this card in my deck. And it inconveniently for everybody, it kills Sunwell Initiates and then gives you 3 attack, and then you still have a minion. So
it can solo a Sunwell Initiate and Venomous Scorpid and live.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Scorpid. I didn't even think of the Scorpid moment. Yeah, because you can kill something else. You don't have to kill the other thing. You can just do 4 damage to it. Wow, that's
You can get a 4 mana 4/1 and clear those 2 minions And I actually want to say this again. I'm bringing this up because it's something I've really been paying attention to at the end of this meta, and this card is reach as well. If you could just throw this into any random minion and you just get an extra +3 attack, which could kill somebody. That matters. So that's another little. It's a smaller hit on it, but it matters. So it could just give you lethal because you can basically and hero power with it, and you can get a +4 attack and go face. So this card is so flexible. All these cards for Druid are so good and flexible.
I'm very happy with these Druid cards.
Yeah. And they're not boring either. Here's another one. Okay, here's our first tradable. This card is called Best in Shell. It's a 6-mana Druid card. Tradable. Summon 2/7 turtles with taunt.
Yeah, that's a fantastic card right there.
It is a pretty good card, isn't it, Kellen?
Yeah. So if you're in a situation where you want 2/7 turtles with taunt, this is the best card ever because it does exactly that. And there's a lot of situations where that happens. If you just need to survive in order to play something like Park Panther and start developing value, if you're in a deck that uses Oracle Balloon and needs to start developing minions that and you have a way to create a lot of value. If you have composting and you're trying to get your cards, but you just don't have the ability to get the board, this does all of those things. So having a 6-mana 6-mana card that gives you 2/7 taunts, that's hard to say, is just a good card. I would be okay with that card in some decks. But the fact that it's tradable makes up for everything that could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this card's okay even without tradable.
And the more expensive a card is, the more valuable tradable is on it. So I think almost any card that would cost 6 and is tradable is already almost at a 3 because the value of those cards at 6 mana, if they hit the right spot, is absolutely fantastic. The right time for Best in Shell to be cast as itself is wonderful. It's so good. You're protecting yourself from dying. You're protecting a weak minion. You're protecting your Park Panther or your Kodomant that's still alive and hasn't died yet. You're doing all these things that it can do. Or sometimes you just need a 7-drop and you just need to cycle this and look for something for the next turn. So I give Best in Shell a 3.5. I think it is most of the time going to get tradable, but the fact that it gets that extra 2-mana option to do something fantastic brings it.
Kellen, can I make a small argument? Would you be willing to go to a 4 just because if you think about this, I just was looking at it this is 14 health to get through for 6 mana. That's a lot of health.
I was initially going 4 on this, and then the more I talked about it, I was like, sometimes they just have a 7/7 or something like that, and it just doesn't.
I think
you're right.
I think this is a 4.
You're right. No, based on the power level of the other 4s I gave, I think you're right. This is probably
honestly, if this wasn't tradable, this would be a different discussion in a certain respect. Absolutely. But you can just throw this away, and by the time you play it, it's great. So I like what you were talking about with the more expensive tradables and how. I can't wait to play. I can't wait to get my hands on these tradable cards. I'm super excited. So, all right, next we've got the legendary card for Druid. It's Sheldross Moontree, 8 mana, 5/5. Battlecry. The next 3 spells you draw are cast when drawn.
Yeah. So I don't draft this card. This card sucks. It is good sometimes, and those sometimes you'll be like, oh, well, that's all right. Should we just give it a 1 and move on? I have 1. This is for constructed. This is
yeah. All right, fair enough.
Next class, we're moving.
Yeah, we're moving on. We're gonna keep it moving. Okay. So next we've got Hunter. We've got the Hunter next, and we've got the first card is Devouring Swarm, 0 mana. Choose an enemy minion. Your minions attack it, then return any that die to your hand. Whoa, this is interesting.
So I think the most common. This is a very complicated card, but after the 12 seconds I've just had with it, I think the most common play pattern will be you have an empty board, you play a minion, you cast Devouring Swarm on a minion that it trades with, and then you get your minion back to your hand.
Yeah.
And we know from past experience that your minions attack it means your oldest minion will attack it first. So
it kind of makes me think a little bit about Fishy Flyer. It's giving any card you want that can die a Fishy Flyer effect, which isn't bad. It rushes and kills it. So this is interesting. It's a really interesting card to evaluate.
I think this card's really good.
I think it is too. I'm part of me wants to think this card's insane, but then my brain's am I missing something?
It also gives a minion that you have on the board Wind Fury if you wanted to, and then draw a card. Yeah, I think this card's actually fantastic. No, this card's really, really good because every situation I can think of where this is in your hand is good. If you have no board, it's fantastic. If you have a board already, then you can create a situation where you're trading in your minions that are damaged and getting them back to your hand. If they have battle cries, it's good. This card works with every type of synergy that possibly could exist. It works with beast battle cries. It works with beast and hand battle things. Yeah, this has to be good, right?
This card is Kellen, I might be wrong, but I think this card might be a 5. Like
I
this,
think it.
it's
I
good.
think
This
could
is
be
one
a
of those.
5.
What?
Is this a 5?
I think it
could
is.
It could literally be attack your opponent for 7, devouring swarm their creature, draw 3 cards and replay them. It costs 0 mana.
Well, Kellen,
Costs
like
you
I guess
no
my
mana.
my reason for like I was thinking at first 4.5, but right now I'm thinking like you were saying like. Can you think of many situations where this card, like this is a card where maybe if it was a dead card, it would not be great, obviously. But I can't think of many situations where this card doesn't do very good things.
Yeah, the worst case scenario, you're playing Hunter, so you have death rattles and battle cries everywhere. So you're getting double dip on that stuff.
Yeah, it's like double death rattles. Man, there's so many uses, and like you said, you can attack face and then do it. You can attack the minion and then do it. So you can
You can make value. Yeah, God, you can make value
That's what
trades
I was
with your
saying.
minions and their other stuff, and then
I'm doing it 5. 5
I
it,
think
Kellen.
this card's absolutely insane. It's very complicated, and it's going to require a lot of thinking. Very much like True Aim Crescent, it's going to require a buttload of planning. But man, I'm down with Devouring Storm. Give me more of that.
I'm sorry to keep bringing this up over and again, but like, Kellen, all these cards are really interesting.
I love it. It's very fascinating to me. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah. All right, so next we have a card that we don't care about. That's a quest card. Then the next card we're going to actually talk about is Leatherworking Kit. This is one of those weird weapons. It's a 2-mana 0/3 weapon. After 3 friendly beasts die, draw a beast and give it +1/+1, lose 1 durability.
Nope, not for me. First of all, it prevents you from playing other weapons, and in Hunter that matters. Number two, triggering it is impossible if you draw it off the top of your deck and you're at a point where you don't have beasts in play already, which is most of the time.
And you need to have a lot of beasts.
You have to have a critical mass of beasts. So this is a 1. It's for constructed. I'm not interested in drafting this unless I have 75 alley cats already. So no.
All right, moving on. So we've got Aimed Shot, a 3-mana hunter spell, deal 3 damage. Your next hero power deals 2 more damage, so it will deal 4 generally.
Oh.
So
I like this a lot. I like this a lot better than the demon. No, I like it. Man, this is tough.
Well,
this is significantly better than Baited Arrow. Significantly better than Baited Arrow, in my opinion. Oh no, sorry, Cobra Shot.
Cobra Shot. Yeah, for sure. Cobra Shot with 5 mana. If you can freaking believe it was 5 for Cobra.
Yeah, so this is straight up an additional damage to the face. Not on turns when you have more mana than 5, when 7 or more, but I don't. I still.
Oh wait a minute, this goes face. Oh, this card's amazing. This goes face.
Well, yeah, but it means it's 5 mana, deal 7 face. Oh. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's a lot, Kellen. I know that's
5 mana, deal 7. Huh.
I think when I read this card in my brain, I just assumed this would be like a minion only type of thing because they've been kind of going that direction. But yeah, I mean, 7 damage is sort of significant. I mean, even if it does cost 5, it doesn't. It's still pretty significant. It goes through everything, so that matters. All these taunts, like this card might be at least a 3.5.
I think this is exactly a 3.5. I think in most situations that 2 damage is going to be relevant, but it also, yeah, I think it's 3.5. I don't think it's quite more than that.
No, I don't either.
No, wait, what's,
okay,
yeah, no, that's right. So I was like looking at cards that I was trying to compare it to everything that I can think of, and Kill Command is the first one that came to mind outside of Cobra Shot. And but Kill Command allows you to deal 5 to a minion, which is more relevant than I think dealing 2 with your next hero power. So
and in terms of the mana cost that people might bring up, in terms of that it costs 5 to do the 7, I would argue to you that by the time that it would matter that you need to do 7 damage, 5 mana doesn't really matter. Like, by the time you would need to play it that way, like you'll have the mana to spend to do it. So Interesting. I think this is another interesting card. I'm just loving all these cards.
In constructed, I think this card is insane. Actually,
Yes.
this is the best face hunter spell damage or spell card they've ever made. But I do think in arena it's going to end up being a 3.5 because there's a lot of times with hunter, and the biggest problem with hunter is you don't get them to the point where the 4 damage off your hero power will matter. So
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we've got Ramming Mount, a 3-mana hunter card. It's give a minion +2/+2 and immune while attacking. When it dies, it summons a ram, which is a 2-mana 2/2, which is also immune while it attacks, by the way.
I think this card's great.
Yeah.
Not so much because of what it summons, but because of what it does in the first place. 3-mana +2/+2 Divine Shield is nuts. So I don't know. That's really what it does. 3-mana +2/+2 Divine Shield. It's slightly different than that, but that's pretty much how I'd read it. I think this card's again a 3.5. It's a card.
I'm between a 3.5 and a 4. Yeah, it's close. It might be.
It's close. It could be up to a 4. It really depends on your curve. If you have a good curve, this card's a 4. If you have a rough curve, this card's probably a 3.
My thought process, and maybe I'm a little wrong here, but in Hunter, I feel like the fact that it's like a little bit lower of a initial buff to the card makes it a little bit worse in Hunter. Like, it's fine. Like, you get the Divine Shield and everything. I'm just saying that, a +2/+2 for 3 I think it's a 3.5, but it's still really great, obviously. So
I was looking at it the first half, but getting an extra 2/2 is really nice. I don't know. I might end up upping this to a 4.
Yeah, and I can see that. We're just we're close there. So
the cards in Hunter so far have been very dirtily. They haven't been tempo producing, so I think it might depend on the format too. But
and it's really cool that it has the immune effect when it attacks as well. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So next we've got Stormwind Piper, a 3-mana 1/6 demon in Hunter. A demon, that's cool. After this minion attacks, give your beast +1/+1.
Ugh, gross. I do not like this card.
I don't like this card either, but I will say, if you have a beast deck, this is one of those cards that could actually be kind of like 4-ish if like you had the right deck for it. Only because 6 health is actually a lot to get rid of it for 3 mana.
The problem is if you draw this card in the game, if you're at parity or like at a point where you and your opponent have the same stuff in play, and then you draw this and play it, your opponent's definitely going to kill it. And so I just don't.
But yeah, we have to evaluate it on what it is. I think it's is it like a 1.5 or 2?
Yeah, it's like a 2 probably. Like
2.
I'll play a 3-mana 1/6, and then sometimes I get a +1/+1 or +2/+2 off of it. That's good. But yeah, I think it's most of the time a 2, and some decks it might get up to like a 2.5. But even in the right deck, I don't think it's super great.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's not a very good card. So, all right, moving on. We've got Rodent Nest. I don't know what this card does yet, but I just like the name of it. Rodent Nest. It's a 4-mana 2/2. Death Rattle, summon 5 1/1 rats. That's such a cool card. I don't know if it's any good, but yeah, I didn't think about it yet. But I just love the idea of this card.
Yeah, I think this is a 3. I'd put this card in my deck, but I don't think it's going to do much craziness unless you have a deck that really needs exactly what it does. So,
yeah,
I think it's 3.
You think it's actually as good as 3? Okay, I think that's fair. I think this card's cool because like I know this isn't exactly the right comparison, but like I kind of think of like a card like what's the 4-mana 3/3 that summons the 9/1? It's not exactly like I know it's not really exactly the same, but it's an understated 4-drop that gives you like your opponent another problem and gives you stats. And I think I don't know if it's better than that card, but I think it's kind of comparable.
I think it's comparable, but like that card sometimes deals 9 and your opponent can't play around it. This card sometimes deals like 4. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see this even being I can even see this being. Well, I think a 3 is actually. I think it's a really good rating actually. No, so all right. So next we've got a first tradable for Hunter. It's Imported Tarantula. It's a 5-mana 4/5 beast, tradable. The Death Rattle is summon 2 1/1 spiders with poisonous and rush. What?
This card is the best tradable I've seen so far. So
what?
It's definitely. What? Yeah.
No, I'm not saying what. Like you're wrong. I'm saying like what is this? No, like not. I know what that's not what I meant. I mean more like I'm still kind of in shock about this card a little bit. Anyway, go ahead.
It's a weird one, but the fact that all the cards are beasts is a nice bonus. Then this being a card that is tradable is absolutely ridiculous. And I think in Hunter, Tradable is really valuable as well because it allows you to affect your curve, and that's so important in a class that's based on tempo almost purely most times.
Yeah.
This card is great though. Like I would happily play a 5-mana 4/5 beast that summons 2/1/1 spiders with poisonous rush. They can take tradable off that.
So before we give the rating, I want to take people a little bit back in time because I think this is a very interesting card to compare it to. Blight Nozzle, whatever it was called, from Rogue. It was a 4-mana 2/4 mech that summoned a 1/1 poison with rush when it died. In fact, I think that card is actually coming back in the meta with Witchwood. So what's interesting, so this card by itself, you might be like, like they can just remove them, right? So like, is it really that good? But let me tell you that this kind of card is so awkward for your opponent that like they know it's on the board, it's got health and it's hard to remove. And even if they remove it themselves, they have to expend so many resources and pings to get rid of it to protect stuff. So it's really good. I like this card. I think it's
a 4. I think it's above average enough that I would very happily play it. I don't think it's a bomb, but I agree. It's where I want it, and it allows me to make my deck better as I play it. So yeah, I like.
Do you agree with me on the whole awkward thing about this card, like how it's so awkward for your opponent?
Yeah, it is. It's very uncomfortable to play against.
Yeah. So this is a cool card. I'm really excited to mess around with this one. And again, it's an epic, but right now, if they keep things the way they are, epics are as common as common. So that's interesting. All right. So next we've got we've got the this one actually might be somewhat relevant. This is a 5-mana 5/5 beast. It's called the Rat King. It's got Rush, and its Death Rattle is go dormant and revive after 5 friendly minions die.
Yeah, I think this card's actually pretty good. A 5-mana 5/5 rush is already a 3.5, maybe closer to a 4. And then this Death Rattle is much easier to trigger than what was the plant, the 4-mana 5/3 plant?
Right, yeah, because you had to play cards. This is just naturally things that'll happen, and it just never is going to go away.
Yeah. So I don't think this card is a bomb because most of the time, like your best case scenario is after the game plays out, you in total gained a 5-mana 5/5 rush and also got another 5-mana 5/5 rush or a 0-mana 5/5 rush that cost you, I don't know, 6 turns of waiting or whatever, 3 turns of waiting or whatever.
Right.
But I still think it's a 4.5. It's well above average for what you're expecting in stats.
Yeah.
And if you're playing this on turn 5, you're potentially getting 3 uses out of it. So
awesome. All right, I agree with the 4.5 rating. I think you pretty much covered everything you need to about this one. Legendary, you might not see it a lot, but it's still an interesting,
it's a beast,
card.
So there might be discovered. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're gonna move on to Mage.
No. We got one more. Do not skip the last one.
Wait. I am so sorry. Backtrack. We were going back. I missed one. I'm sorry. I'll let you go on. All right. So I'm sorry. One more card. I missed it. My bad. Rats. Oh, I love all these rat cards. I'm sorry. Rats of extraordinary size. 6 mana. Epic. Summon 7/1/1 rats. Any that can't fit on the battlefield go to your hand with +4/+4, which means they're a 1. Oh, they're a 1-mana 4. Oh, geez.
No, they're 1-mana 5/5s.
1-mana 5/5s? What a weird design. I love it.
I do too. I think this card is absolutely fantastic. I think this is a 5. I think this is a card. I think this is a potentially a 5. I don't
know. I agree with you, Kel. No, because of what it is for Hunter, I think it makes it maybe a 5. Like getting all those.
If you look at it as a 6-mana 7/7, it's already a 4. If you have an empty board, this card is a 4, right? A 6-mana. In Hunter, it's a 4 because you can use all the beasts and you have all the triggers and all that stuff. But the fact that you can play it on any board state at all, and you're going to get value out of that, especially because a 1-mana 5/5 is a stupid card to draw. So if you have a turn where you can cast this with 3 minions in play, I actually don't know if you could lose that game. So if you're ever ahead, you're going to be very, very, in the sense of the card, you'll be extraordinarily ahead. I think this is a 4.5. I think this card is very, very good. I don't know if it hits the 5 point because there are games where your board will just be cleared over and over again.
Yeah. Well, one thing this close. I don't know if this will throw you over the top, but the situation I'm going through in my head is it's end of the game. You're at 9 mana. You've got 3 minions on board, and you just need a little damage to get through a taunt. So you got this flexible card that deals as many 1/1s as you need. So, or actually at that state that I'm talking about, it would actually be 4 damage. So you would spend 6 mana, deal 4 damage to go through a taunt, and then have 3 mana
They don't
left.
have rush. They don't have rush.
Oh shit, you're right. My bad. Okay, that is a 4.5.
That is a downside. It feels like expendable.
Why did I think it had? Why did I think? I keep thinking cards have things that. I've had a long week, people. I'm sorry.
Expendable performers. That's why you thought that.
Yeah,
that's all good.
Yeah, I think
but
4.5.
I think 4.5 for this card. I think it's going to be very, very powerful.
Yeah, really interesting that you can like use it and drop stuff down and then get some big minions out of it. And it's a flexible card because you can either just get 7/1/1s, which might be really good for you at the time, or you can get some bigger stats with a little bit of working around. Another card where you have to think about your board state and really think about your turn. I love each of these designs, man. I'm seeing this over and over with having to really think about what you're doing. So this is great. I'm really excited. Next, we're going to be moving on to our next class. We have Mage. Let's see here. Let me pull this up. We've got our first card is Hot Streak. It is a 0 mana fire spell. Your next fire spell this turn costs 2 less. Ooh, this is bad.
Yeah, that's a 0. I think that's actually a 0.
What is this card for? This must be some kind of combo card.
It's for construction.
All right. Well, let's move on. Whatever. Okay, next card. Hope that I get better than that. Next card is First Flame. 1 mana fire spell. Deals 2 damage to a minion. Add a second flame to your hand. Ooh, that's kind of fun.
This card is completely ridiculous. This is a 4. Half? 4.5?
Let me think about this. Well, 2 damage again, and then the flexibility to do it. So 2 damage for 4 at worst. Oh wait.
Worst case scenario, you're spending 2 mana and dealing 4 damage.
And you don't even have to kill it. If I would think this might be a little lower if you had to kill the minion and split it across.
You do whatever you want.
But you can do it however you want. So this might be a 4.5.
You don't even have to use the second one on the turn you play it. It's not even have echo or anything. So
nope.
This is insane.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
This is stupid. Yeah. This card's really good. I think Mage needs some good. They've had
they're in a rough spot right now, so that's a valuable card for them.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so next we've got this is the quest line. We don't care about that. All right, now another one of these interesting weapon cards I keep talking about. We've got Celestial Inkset. 2 mana 0/2. After you spend 5 mana on spells, reduce the cost of a spell in your hand by 5, lose 1 durability.
Constructed only, not interesting. 1.
Thank you. Moving on. We have Ignite, 2 mana fire spell. Deal 2 damage. Shuffle and Ignite into your deck that deals 1 more damage. Oh, that's cool. I like that.
This card used to exist in a game called Hex, Shards of Fate. This card existed and was decent but not fantastic, and it started as a 1 mana deal. In that deck it was fine. And it's a very similar type of game. I think this card is okay. I'm not really excited about it.
So this is a card where you have to evaluate where your initial cost is bad and not great. Though, you cast this on a 3/2 earlier, then the next turn you get a Frostbolt. And remember, the fact that this can go face does increase it a little bit, and so it could snowball in late game a little for sure.
Yeah, but I think the chance that you draw the card and then drawing a 2 mana deal 3 later in the game is just not that appealing most of the time. I don't know. I think this card's a 2.5. I think it's fine. I'm not going to be really mad about having one, but it's not going to be a card. I would take a good curve card over it every time.
I won't lie. My initial thought was maybe a 3, but I kind of think that you're probably tracking on this a little better than I am. I think it's probably, you're right. It's probably a 2.5. So, whoops, I hit the wrong one. 2.5. Sorry guys for watching. Yep. So 2.5. I think that's pretty good. And I think this card, though, I will say, I think this card's actually gonna be really fun to draft.
It's so cool too. Yeah, it's another card that's really cool. Even it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's just fun to play with.
Kellen, do you ever remember reviewing a set of cards where there was this many? Like, we're not even halfway through the class. I just feel like there's so many unique designs in this one.
I'm enjoying these cards a lot.
Yeah, this is like a fun card review. All right, so next we've got Prestor's Pyromancer, a 2 mana 2/3 battle cry. Your next fire spell has spell damage +2. I really like this card, and the reason is because it's your next fire spell, so you can basically save this as long as needed. We've already got the other fire spell that is the 1 mana deal 2 that we see, and it's just a 2/3. I think this card's really good.
Yeah, no,
So,
I definitely do too. Especially with the card we're going to review next existing. I think this card is actually a 3.5. It is most of the
mhm.
time. Yeah, it's on average a 2 mana 2/3. But there's going to be games where you actually are able to take full advantage of the battle cry, and I think that's going to pump it up to a 3.5.
Yeah, and you might have there might again we've mentioned this before. There might be some decks that you draft where this would be drafted rated in your brain a lot higher. But I think 3.5 is a great rating, and it's just a good card in general. So
Yeah, it's just slightly above average. There. Yeah, keep going. Sorry, I don't
yeah,
know
no
why I'm
problem.
talking.
All right, no problem. So next we've got Fire Sale. It's a 4 mana fire spell. It is a tradable card, which we all know now is great, and it deals 3 damage to all minions. So
Well,
it is
I want
a.
this.
I want this too.
Yeah, this feels like a 4.5. I think this is a 4.5 because of tradable. If Hellfire is a 4, this is a 4.5, right?
Mhm.
It's got to be true, especially with cards like Prestor's Pyromancer existing and
This is a card that I'm
everything
actually
else.
struggling to not. I know it's probably not a 5, but
No.
in my brain, I'm actually struggling only because, again, the fact that this is tradable. And then the
Oh,
other
it's so
thing is
good.
that there's a certain aspect of the mind games where by the way, when you trade, this is important to mention. When you trade the card into your deck, your opponent sees what the card is. So
Mhm.
when you trade it, they know that Fire Sale is coming. But it could actually play as an advantage because now they're afraid of that card. So I mean, there's two sides of it. They have the information, but they also don't know when it's coming. So interesting. I think 4.5 is definitely fine with this card.
Yeah,
So,
I like it a lot. I can't wait to put it in my deck. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna make me want to play more First Flames,
oh
which I
man, I want
already
to
am.
draft this. I want to, Kellen. I want to make this one golden. This one's gonna look dope golden. You know, I like my gold cards. All right. So next we've got Sanctum Chandler. It's a 5 mana 4/5 elemental. After you cast a fire spell, draw a spell. Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, this is a card that is deck dependent 100%.
Yeah, for
In the
sure.
right deck, this is a 4 or potentially a 4.5 if your deck is built on First Flames. If you have a lot of First Flames, this card is unbelievable. If you don't, this card is not very good. So it's really going to depend on your deck. This is either a 2 or a 4. I think there's no real middle ground. It's either or even almost a 4.5 if you have 4 First Flames. Like it is amazing.
Yeah.
Because by the way, the fire spells that you play draw you more fire spells, so it triggers its own ability, makes it more powerful, if that makes sense. You're gonna keep drawing fire spells off of it when you cast fire spells, so that is huge. But in the average mage deck, it is likely that you will not have the fire spells allowed to trigger it. So I think it really just depends on
Yeah.
your deck.
And the thing with one thing I will mention as another note is that the elemental tag, at least at this point, means nothing for
Right.
mage. So that pack, I think it too is actually the correct rating. Remember, we're giving the rating based on generally an average deck, what you'll think of this card. So interesting. Might be kind of fun in some decks though. So next we've got Clumsy Courier. It is a 7 mana 4/5 battlecry. Cast the highest cost spell from your hand. All right, take it away, Kellen.
Yeah, this card's again just like Sanctum Chandler. This card's very specific to the deck you have, except it's not as good as Sanctum Chandler when you have a deck that works with it. This is just like the worst version of Primordial. What's the elemental that just came out? The 8 mana 6/6 that summons minions
Primordial
equals to the highest.
Protector.
Primordial Protector. This is just like a bad version of that kind of thing, right? Yes,
Yeah.
casting the highest cost spell, but unless your card is Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron, like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're looking for with this. It has to be Flame Strike. It has to be Puzzle Box. And if you don't have those cards, this is just not going to do it. So you really have to have an absolute pinnacle of expensive cards. And maybe that's a build around. You can probably build around this correctly with, I don't know, Grand Finale or some, one of those big spells that's great. But on average, I don't think this card's a card you want to draft.
So like maybe a 1.5 or something.
Yeah, I maybe a 2. Like in your worst
Yeah.
case scenario, you might just cast a secret, and then you're a 4 mana 4/5 and a 3 mana
Yeah.
secret.
I'm just
Whatever,
for fun, I'm gonna throw out the situation where you'll like look at this card a little bit, which is you might just get in a situation where it's past pick 21 or 22, and all the cards that are in your deck, if this card would cast them, like it might be draw spells, they might like it will not screw you by it casting it. You might just end up in a situation where you have value cards that aren't like they don't have targets, like
Yeah.
board clears, card draw, that kind of thing. If that ends up being a situation, you might actually want to take this card.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty narrow range. I just am throwing it out there for fun.
Sure.
But interesting card. All right. So next we've got Antonitis. We have a Grand Tony now. So Grand Magus Antonitis. 8 mana 6/6 battlecry. If you've cast a fire spell on each of your last 3 turns, oh boy, cast 3 fireballs at random enemies.
Yep, nope, not for us.
Nope.
The times when this triggers is great, but that's just never going to happen. Even when it triggers, it's not actually directly ending the game. It's just providing you board presence. So no, not for me. It's not for us.
Yeah, it's not for us. You're right. All right. So, okay. So next we are on to Paladin, right? So we've got the first card for Paladin we've got is Blessed Goods. It is a 1 mana holy spell. Discover a secret, weapon, or divine shield minion.
That's a 4.5. Can we just move on? It's insane. I love these cards. They've been good every time they printed. Wait, am I being too generous? No, I'm not.
Maybe slightly. I was thinking 4, but I'm trying to think how good. So you're probably gonna let's think about this. You're probably not gonna take a secret very often with this. Right. But you're a divine shield minion or a weapon could be good. Maybe you're right. Actually, maybe
you get a weapon. Okay, you're right. I was too excited. A 4 is probably.
Now accurate. I feel like now I feel like you're right because now when I think about it, like you get a weapon. But, well, the thing is though, it's only 1 weapon. Yeah, you're right. I think I was right. 4. You're right.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, I got really excited because I was thinking of all the divine shield legendaries that exist right now, but still, yeah.
Well,
no,
I think
it's a weapon,
and I could even see this being a 3.5 only because you could. So the thing is you could definitely whiff on the weapon and the shield and the secret. And then I guess in the situation where you whiff on both of those, you might take the secret. It's an interesting card. I think it's only 1 mana, so it's a pretty good value card. And I think the upside of this card does make it a 4, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, now this feels very much like War Cash or Pat Kodo or any of the other things they've made. It's going to be fantastic, but a 4 is probably more correct. Yeah.
All right, so another random weapon that's bad. Hopefully you won't discover this one with that. It's a Prismatic Jewel Kit, 1 mana 0/3. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give minions in your hand +1/+1, lose 1 durability. This one's
not for us.
It's not good, but this one's a little bit. This one I think is slightly better. Remember, they're bad. This one's slightly better than some of the others, I think.
Yeah, but you'd have to have a lot of cards with Divine Shield, and I see some things, but I don't see enough in this format.
Yeah. Yeah, that we don't really care about this card. I don't know, 1 or
there
whatever.
There are decks where it'll be like a 3.5, but even then, you have to have not only this is a 1 mana minion or weapon, by the way, so you're reducing your hand size when you play it. So you're gonna have a small hand when it triggers, unless you draw it late, at which point you will not be able to trigger it. So
this is like Hunter, like the weapons and Paladin weapons are literally other than Hunter. I'm not actually sure which is more, but like Paladin weapons, at least recently, have been just absolutely bonkers. And generally in the past, they just have the strongest, most value weapons. So like, you don't want to not be able to, you don't want to play this and then replace it and then just waste this card. So yeah, it's not very good. All right, moving on. We have City Tax. It is a 2 mana tradable card. Lifesteal, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions.
That's a good card, man. That's a good card.
That's a good card for Paladin, man.
Yeah. So what it does is it's a situational card. That the life steals whatever. It's not super relevant for Paladin. Typically, when you start losing as Paladin, you just lose all the way.
Right.
But the fact that it's a situational card with tradable is the high. Yes, expensive cards are good when they have tradable, but cards that are situational are the best when they have tradable. And this is the most situational thing you could have happen. Dealing 1 damage to all enemy minions, sometimes great. Arcane Explosion works a lot of the time. Shooting Star is fantastic. But there's a lot of times where you just want to not have that in your hand, and this gives you that opportunity. So I think this card's a 3.5. It's slightly above average. Both ends aren't great. I mean, neither one's going to be more than what you're expecting, but the fact that you get to choose between the two, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah, I was between a 3.5 and a 4. That's kind of where my brain was going. I will, just to bring up this, one of the reasons this card is really great for Paladin particularly is they already are a class that has lots of flexible board states with lots of flexible damage on the board. What I mean by that is lots of 1/1s and things. So cards like this that puts a ping onto the whole enemy's board becomes stronger because you have more options on how to kind of deal with the board state afterwards. So this is kind of a Power of Ping, Kellen, another Power of Ping episode.
Yes, it is.
Might want to go back and listen to that one, guys, if you haven't. That's a good episode. So been getting a lot of feedback actually about that specific episode. So, but yeah, this is a cool card. All right, so moving on, we've got our mount card for Paladin. We have Noble Mount. It is 2 mana. Give a minion +1/+1 in Divine Shield. When it summons, when it dies, summon a Warhorse. Actually, it doesn't have that listed. I'm assuming it's a 1/1 Divine Shield. But
yeah, that's my guess too. But yeah, I don't see what Noble Mount does actually in terms of what it's summoning. It's gotta be a 1 mana.
Yeah, it has to be based on the way they've been doing it. They just forgot to put it in the Hearthstone website where we're looking at it. So, yeah, cool card. I mean, similar in a certain respect to the Hunter one, because that one was immune. This is Divine Shield. It's very similar. Smaller buff, but also smaller cost. So this is a cool card. I think this is like a 3.5, maybe a 4.
Yeah. I think it's a 4. Most of the mounts are gonna be in the 4 range. Just the fact that you get the extra, you're basically paying an extra mana. The mounts basically cost 1, or the actual creature that's summoned is about equal to the mana cost of the card -1. So you're paying 1 for this effect, and Shield of Protection is already like a 2. And then giving +1/+1 is already like a 2, and that adds up to like a 3 or 3.5. Yeah, so this is probably a 3.5.
Cal, this is a little bit of a side note.
Or 4, sorry, 4. I mean,
4. That's fine. You know, I'm hoping that you're potentially free, because I'm hoping we can do some actual co-ops this on my stream with this.
Oh, this sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun to co-op. Absolutely.
Yeah, these are some interesting, and these are some really hard co-op cards, because some of these cards are actually very complex for thinking through how you're going to use them, which is one of the reasons I like the design of these so much. All right, so next we've got Alliance Bannerman. It's a 3 mana 2/2 battlecry. Draw a minion. Give minions in your hand +1/+1.
Wow, that's cool.
Wow, it draws a minion and it buffs. That's cool.
This has to be a great card. This has got to be a 3.5 at least, and it might be better than that depending on the deck. I don't actually know what to rate this card. It kind of depends on how the format plays out.
Well, remember, so it draws. The one thing that's cool about this card is it draws first. So you, even in a top deck war, you still at least get 1 buff on the card that it draws. So I think that's a 4. It's got to be a 4.
Wow.
Just because of thinking through the fact that even like obviously if you have a full hand of like 5-6 cards, like this card's bonkers. But if you even in a bad situation where you're top decking, you still get a card draw, which is valuable in that situation, and you get to buff it, which is also
the worst
valuable.
case scenario is that it's a 3 mana 3/3 draw card. Yep, that's a great 4. Yep.
Yeah, that's a 4. So,
when that's the worst case scenario, that's a good sign.
Another. I'm sorry. I feel like I keep repeating myself, but man, I just love the design. I'm really. I don't know which developer actually designed this set, but I am really impressed so far. So Catacomb Guard. It is a 3 mana 1/4 lifesteal battlecry. Deal damage equal to this minion's attack to an enemy minion.
3 mana 1/4 ping with lifesteal on itself. So it's better than Rifleman by a stat point, which is not a card I want to play, but it has hand buff synergy with 2 cards we've already seen in this set alone.
Yeah. 2.5? Maybe 2.
I think it's up to I think it's a
2.5, Kellen. A ping is fine, but it is pretty. I mean, it's got a lot of health too. It's an interesting card.
You're right. Yeah, this is probably I think this card's a 3. I think there's too many ways to make it work.
Yeah,
maybe not.
I just think for Paladin, I think it's a little expensive for the effect. I mean,
right. It is. It is. You're not developing enough of a board when you play this. You're right. It's probably 2.
This is a card that works just for fun. Like this is a card that works like with Stormwind and like Direwolf, though, right? It gives the buff because of
yes.
So I mean that gives it a tiny little bit.
Yeah,
I
think you're right though.
I think it is a 2.5.
It's not gonna do enough.
But it's again very unique card. So all right, so we have a weapon for Hunter, a weapon for Paladin. We have Lightbringer's Hammer, 3 mana 3/2 lifesteal, can't attack heroes. Ooh, I like this card. It's fair.
I think it's a 4. Shadowblade. It's same as Shadowblade in all intents and purposes, and that's been a 4 for its. I
was gonna give it a 3.5 just because it can't go face.
You're right.
But
you're right. 3.5. I think you're absolutely right.
But again, 3 mana. This is a great 3 mana 3/2 weapons for Paladin are great. They don't get a lot of. they don't get a lot of high attack weapons on 3 typically. So this is
Right.
definitely decent for them. But I like this card. It'll be fun. Getting life. A lot of times their lifesteal weapons are like crazy expensive. So this is a cool card. I like this one.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't love lifesteal in Paladin. Once you start
Yeah,
losing with Paladin, you just end up falling
that's
behind
true.
too much. But I agree. It's probably like a 3.5. It's better
Um,
than average for sure.
so here's another hand buffing type of card. We have First Blade of Rin, uh, 4 mana 3/5, Divine Shield, Battlecry gain rush if it has a +4 attack. So here, this card's really interesting because like just a 4 mana 3/5 Divine Shield is
That's good.
good.
That's
I mean,
already a 3.5
it's
by
already good
itself.
because
Yeah.
if they don't deal with it, you have buffs like Blessing of Authority or whatever buffs are existing in the meta right now. And so by itself, it's like a 3.5. And then if you end up like, actually, it might be. Well, I don't know. Is this card a 4 or is this just a 3.5?
I think it ends up as a 3.5 because you have
Yeah.
to specifically have now. If you're in the format with all the hand buff stuff, then that changes, right? If you're in what is Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, this card's a 4. It's at least. But if you're not in Mean Streets, then I think it's a 3.5.
I guess
think
I'm
it's
kind of
average.
leaning. My brain's maybe it's a 3.75 or something. But the reason I'm leaning a little bit that way is because what this does for Paladin is so powerful because the opponent has well, not does it not just does it have the Divine Shield, but it has 5 health on top of it, which is very good for them because it allows a minion to survive to do the things that they want to do. So
Yeah.
we'll find out. This card might be a tiny bit better than 3.5, but we're just kind of like picking little micro decisions. But I think this is cool.
Yeah.
So
And I think it'll depend on the format for this one too.
all right. So next we've got High Lord Forward Dragon, 8 mana 5/5 Divine Shield.
6 mana.
Sorry, 6 mana 5/5 Divine Shield. It's a legendary. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give a minion in your hand +5/+5.
This card's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a 6 mana 10/10 that has Divine Shield.
Yeah.
So that's a great card.
All
All right, 4.5, I guess. It's
Yeah,
not. I
sure.
mean, it's not going to win the game by itself, but it's going to get close. I think it's probably 4.5.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's pretty
stupid.
good.
Let's not have to. Thank God it doesn't have any tags. You can't randomly summon it. It doesn't have. Oh, you can off freaking Blessed Goods. Oh God, you can get this off Blessed Goods.
All right, so next we are moving on to our next class. We have Priest, so we're under the Priest class now. We have first card we have is a 1 mana shadow spell. Discover a Death Rattle minion. If you have enough sorry, let me say this again, my bad. Discover a Death Rattle minion. If you have enough mana to play it, trigger its Death Rattle.
It's probably a good card.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's like a 4, right?
Yeah, because at worst, this card just discovers a Death Rattle for 1, which is pretty good. Like
That's like a 2.5 or a 3 already.
right, and then if you can trigger it, which we know Priest is probably it's going to happen every time because it's just Priest. I'm just kidding, but some of these Death Rattles for them like could be just game altering. So if you have the right one, so yeah, I think 4 is probably in order.
I think
here.
4. I would be very. It just doesn't. It's not as good as Draconic Studies, but it's kind of up the same vein, and it's gonna be very.
Yeah.
Good.
One thing I love about these card reviews is I feel like as we start getting into the review, I feel like we get more in tune with like what the actual like star rating should be. I feel like I kind of warm up, Yep. All right. So next we've got Shard of the Naru. It's a 1 mana holy spell, tradable, silence all enemy minions.
So this is one of those cards, like I was talking about with our last class, Paladin, where it's extremely situational.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it is tradable makes it acceptable. I think this card's at least a 3 because the fact that you can silence all enemy minions, and we've seen a lot of minions with abilities so far. A lot. There's a lot of Divine Shield, a lot of Death Rattle, a lot of when this attacks, give your hero +3 attack, or random stuff. So there's been a deep conversation about Ironbeak Owl in Arena lately because the silence effect is so powerful, and we just spoke about Focused Will and the strength of that card in our last podcast.
We did.
So silence has gone up in value a lot over the last few years as cards have become more high toughness or high health and ability related. So I think this card is. I don't think this card is more than a 3, but I do think this card's a 3.
I don't know, Kellen. I'm going to use your own argument against you. I think this card is actually a 3.5, and the only reason I'm saying that is
Really?
just because it's tradable. Like you can
Yeah.
just cycle cards. And cycling cards as a priest is really good.
So
Um,
we talked about focused will last week, and I think we both agreed it was right. A focused will is about a 3, right? It's
yeah.
because it's flexibility. So I think this is similarly flexible. It is a little bit better in its flexibility, but well, not even true.
Well, the
It's
fact that
about
you
the
can, the
same.
fact that like you could basically every time you draw this again, you can trade it in again, and you can just
That
keep.
is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, in a priest that feels good. I'm gonna give it 3.5. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, I think it's a fine card. I definitely would love to have one in my decks. I would absolutely
this is
love to
definitely
have
one of those
one every
cards
card.
that it's great to have a one of, and you never would really want more than one, but it's a great one of in your deck.
Yep.
So, it's a really cool card. All right, so
Yes.
next we've got Void Touched Attendant. It's a 1 mana 1/3. Both heroes take 1 extra damage from all sources. Oh, this
I,
is
I
interesting.
I don't think this card's gonna be good for Priest. I think it's the wrong
Class,
move.
yeah,
It's not an awful card because Priest does struggle for early game, and a 1 mana 1/3 is a good card, but unless Priest ends up really tempo based, which based on the other cards, the two cards we reviewed so
yeah,
far, it looks like it's not. I don't think this is the kind of card you want. It feels very much like Cursed Blade, the old warrior card,
yeah.
where warrior wants to be the one dealing the damage. It doesn't want it to be symmetrical. So yeah, I actually don't think this is the kind of one drop you want in Priest.
Probably just, do you want to just give it like a 2 because it's a 1/3?
Yeah, I think you got to.
But
Yeah.
this again, this is a card they're pushing the shadow version of Priest and Constructed. They're definitely pushing it because they did really succeed with it last meta, and they're trying to get so.
Yeah.
This is just a card that's not really made for Arena. Um, Next we've got another weapon that has 0 attack. We've got Shadow Cloth Needle. 2 mana 0/3. After you cast a shadow spell, deal 1 damage to all enemies. Lose 1 durability. Oh, that's
Nope.
actually interesting.
Well, yes, it is. If you have a full shadow spell deck, that's cool, but then you also have to have a full
Yeah.
shadow spell deck where you want to deal 1 damage on. I mean,
Let
like
me just let me just say this. This is a shitty card, and in my brain, each time I see one of these, I keep going, well, maybe this is the best of the shitty cards, which still means it's a shitty card. I'm just saying
yeah,
that for fun, but yeah, it's not a good
yeah,
card.
yeah. It's just not
I'm gonna
not
give
for
this one a
again,
one
not
and a
for me.
half. A one and a
Okay,
half.
all right, I agree. Actually, I
I'm
think there
just
are
being
times where you
nice.
want it.
All right. So next we've got Twilight Deceptor, 2 mana 2/3. Battle Cry. If any hero took damage this turn, draw a shadow spell. Ooh.
Wow, I like that card a lot.
Ooh, I like this
Um,
one.
this feels like Mana Feeder Panthera, but or less triggerable, but cheaper to trigger. So I like it as a 3. I think it's a great 3 because most of the time it's going to be really tough to make that happen. You're going to have to take a bad turn because in Priest you want to be trading almost 100% of your turns. So it's going to be tough. You're going to have to take a turn where you don't. You know what? This card might actually make players who are not experienced better at Hearthstone because because they're going to want to trigger the Twilight Deceptor, so they're going to actually go face more often, which is, as we've discussed many
Oh
times on the
yeah.
podcast, the right decision more times than you think. So I wonder if this card's going to make people better at Hearthstone.
Do we, or is this? Are you thinking this was a 3, or are we going to a 3.5? Because the drawing
Uh,
the card's good. It
it
draws a
is,
shadow
but it's
spell.
specifically so it's a card that's going to depend. It's kind of like it's a worse version of the what's the card? The Mage 2 mana 2/3 that draws a secret from your deck.
Eh,
It's just I think it's slightly worse than that. Well,
yeah,
it's
I think
definitely
you're
worse than
right.
that card,
You know,
but I think it's a 3.
the reason I think it's a 3. The other thing that I'm thinking about is that honestly, most of the spells that you want to draft. Now, we did just see that really nice juicy shadow spell with the Death Rattle one, but in the past and over the other cards, maybe other than the set, it typically the holy spells are the ones you want, not the shadow ones.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think that definitely plays a factor into the rating. But interesting
Yeah.
card and definitely
Yeah.
really fun. Next,
Yeah.
we've got Psy Fiend, a 3 mana 3/4. After you cast a shadow spell, deal 2 damage to each hero. I mean, this card. I mean, I can just get this one over with. It's probably just a 3 based on its fact that
Yeah.
it's a
It's
3 mana 3/4.
exactly.
But I mean, I could honestly even go to a 2 points. I'd probably go to like 3.2. Wait, what did I say? 3? I said 3, right? Yeah.
I think 3/4s are still really good based on the.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it seems like most of the 2 drops are 2 3s, not 3 2s or 4 or 4
Right.
1s or whatever. So I think these cards are very good right now. The 3/4s. So I think it's just a 3.
Remember, this is basically a 3-mana 3/4. It's very rarely where the damage is going to matter and you're going to trigger it. But
half the time, the damage is going to be a negative effect for you, not a positive.
Basically, for priest purposes, you're just happy that there was a 3-mana 3/4 added to your class cards. That's the extent of why this is good for them. That's it. So next we've got a Void Shard, a 4-mana shadow spell, lifesteal, deal 4 damage.
Well, we've had this card before. This is just Tide. Oh my gosh, what's the card? The Shaman card.
Yeah.
Title Search. Yeah. This card's always fine. It's a 2.5. It's slightly below what you want to do, but it's not. It's bad,
just a little expensive for what it does.
Right.
So yeah, moving on. We've got Dark Bishop Benedictus, 5-mana 5/6. Start of the game. If the spells in your deck are all shadow, enter shadow form. Never, ever, ever, ever gonna happen. But it's a 5/6, so it's like it's a 3, I guess.
This is one of those cards where you could just take it first pick and you actually get to do it. It's very much like Reno.
Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm
or Kazakus. Yeah, I think if you get this early and you can do it, then it's absolutely fantastic. Shadow form is way better than any other hero power that exists. So, I think if you get this early, I would absolutely do it.
Yeah.
I would actually, you know what? No, I will take that back. If I get this and I don't have a shadow spell deck, if all my cards are shadow, all my spells, I will every time. There is no card I would probably take over it.
Yes, Sarah? Sorry, you put yourself there. I had to ask.
No, I actually think I would take Benedictus.
It's fair. It's fair. I'm just for fun. It's a fun little.
Yeah, it's worth thinking about though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the ability to start the game with that, I think means I would prefer that. It makes 3/2s completely irrelevant. It makes value trades easier.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Let me just throw this out there before I give you this card. This is the mount card for Priest. This was the first card that I saw that I was like, oh God. This one made me a little scared. But we have Elec Mount. It's a 7-mana Priest spell. Give a minion +4/+7 and taunt. When it dies, summon an Elec that's +4/+7. This is just straight out a better steed. It's a little more expensive, but...
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. It's 1 extra mana for 4 total extra attacks. That's a tough one to say.
But I will say this is a card that people in Priest, if they're aware of the meta, I don't think this card is very crazy difficult to play around because typically Priest is a little bit more clunky. They don't typically like get tons of spread down. So like, you're going into turn 7, you see them kind of messing around with the card. You're like, oh well, I'm probably gonna clear their board off. But this is a really good card. I think it's probably I would give it at least a 4.
Yeah, I think it's a 4. It's too expensive to be more than that for what it does.
Have we given every mount a 4? It feels like we're giving.
And that seems to be what they've been designed around. They've managed to fit the power levels pretty closely to the same. So yeah, I think a 4 is about right.
Yeah, some people. I guarantee you, there's gonna be people that disagree and think this is higher, but I think they're a little bit. I think they're the fact that they have to have a minion down as a priest is going to be a little bit harder. So I think it might, again, if you think this card's better, I think this is going to be a little more awkward at times than you think. So now we are moving on to Rogue. Our first card is SI7 Extortion. 1 mana, deal 3. 1 mana tradable, deal 3 damage to an undamaged character.
That is insane. Wow, it's good. Very good. And then sometimes when it's not what you need, you can pitch it. So what is that? It's a 4. That's a 4 at least, right? It's just a 4.
Yeah.
It's a 4.
Because again, this tradable thing just gives so much value to everything. Now this one a little bit less because it's already 1 mana to begin with. But if you don't need the damage and you need another card, and you're kind of desperate,
Let's do it.
Just do it. And I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. They haven't really brought back this undamaged character mechanic in a long time, so I'm excited to see another one. So yeah, I think 4 is a good number for this one. So next we've got Garrot, I think is how you say it, Garrot. It's a 2 mana rogue spell. Deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Shuffle 3 bleeds into your deck that deal 2 damage more when drawn. Yeah.
Okay, no. So bleeds deal damage to the enemy hero.
Yeah.
No. Nope. Not for me.
Probably.
That's a 2. It's not even.
No, it's not a 2. It's probably.
That's a 1.
If that. I was gonna give it a half, but whatever. Yeah, it's bad. So we'll move on. Yeah. We don't like to spend time on these cards. Oh no, this is gonna be fun in Arena. Maestra of the Masquerade. 2 mana, 3/2. You start the game as a different class until you play a rogue card.
This card's actually straight up bad. Rogue has one of the best hero powers ever, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. And the only cards that could make you discover cards that are from your class would be cards that are rogue class cards for the most part. So, yeah, no, this card is not for. What is this card for? I don't know. Maybe there's some trick or something. I'm not sure. But this is not. This is actually a negative effect.
Even though it's a 2 mana 3/2, right? Even though it's like an okay static
card. Even though
it's
a 2, it's a 2 straight up as a 2 mana 3/2. I think this is actually a 1. I don't want. Yeah. I want to have my weapon. That's the whole point of rogue.
We would like to have, like, I guess maybe now Demon Hunter's hero power is arguably better. But
yeah, I think there's this about the same.
But I was just gonna say, like, now, like, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, why would you want to remove that again? I don't know. So yeah, okay. So 1's fine. All right, moving on. We've got this card is fun. Loan Shark, 3 mana 3/4 beast. Battlecry, give your opponent a coin. Death Rattle, you get 2.
Wow. I don't know.
So interesting thing about this card is, I mean, we'll just start out from our baseline. It's definitely, at least, it's just a 3 by being a 3/4, right? We can start there. Yeah, I mean, 3 mana 3/4 is good. I'm just saying that part of it's good. The coins are really good in Rogue. So I do think that the coins are more, you're getting more than your opponent, and the coins are more valuable just because of the coins themselves in Rogue.
But they get theirs first, and that's the part that I struggle with. So I think that averages out because they get theirs first. I think that averages out to still just a 3. I don't think it's better or worse than, because it's going to be so situational, and the variance is going to be really high in this card. Sometimes you're going to play this on 3, and your opponent's going to play a 5-drop the next turn, and you're going to lose the game because of that. And even if you get 2 coins, you're not going to be able to make up the difference. But sometimes it's going to be your opponent plays a 3 and a 1, you make a value trade, they trade in, then you play a 7 or whatever, or 6, excuse me. Yeah, so I think it just averages out to being a 3.
I agree. I agree that, like, we would start it as a 3 just for its stats, and I think that you're right. Like, it has upside, but then it also kind of has downside, and it just kind of evens it out. I think it's fair to just say it's a 3. You might find in certain, we'll definitely get to play with it. I'm excited to see if certain archetypes of Rogue make this card better or worse, which they obviously will. So it'll be fun to kind of mess around and see where it ends up being kind of more valuable for you and where it doesn't. So that'll be fun. So next we've got SI7 Operative. It's a 3 mana 2/4 rush. After this attacks a minion, gain stealth.
It's like a bad take on SI7 Agent. Deal 3 mana, deal 2, and then have a thing afterwards. This honestly feels more like the 3 mana 2/1 Divine Shield rush that we saw, or charge that we saw, Argent Horse Rider, from many moons ago.
I almost want to. I know it's a rush card. It's so hard to actually give a bad rating to a rush card, but I almost want to just give this a 2.
I think it's like a 2 or 2.5. It's probably a 2.5 because it just does enough stuff that I think rush and getting stealth.
I guess it does give stealth. Yeah, it's probably, you're right. I think you're right. 2.5 is probably right.
Yeah, but it's not a card I'm looking for. I really don't want to put it in my deck.
Yeah. So next we've got Sketchy Information. It's a 3 mana rogue spell. Draw a Death Rattle card that costs 4 or less. Trigger its Death Rattle.
Ugh, gross. I do not want this card in my deck. The Death Rattles that trigger that cost 4 or less are not going to be enough to make up for the lack of a second card draw and the lack of having control over. I don't know. There's just so many ways this can go wrong. I don't want this.
So wait, Kellen, are you telling me that you wouldn't want to skip turn 3, deal 5 damage to your face, and then play your 4 mana 5/7 next turn?
Oh God, hopefully that's what you get. But you could also draw your 2 mana 2/3.
But like, you have to deal 5 damage to your face, but you have to skip turn 3.
Honestly, that's like a better case scenario for this card.
I know than some of the other ones.
Like
well, you know me, I always like to try to give the best scenario as a way. It's a good way to evaluate stuff, honestly.
You would have to have a very specific deck that has 3 copies of the same fantastic 4-drop. Mm-hmm. It works if you somehow have the Demon Hunter card that gives you Persistent Peddler. If you can summon the same card that's from a different class 3 times, that'd be great. But unfortunately, that's just not.
They
how the
probably
game's
want you
played.
to draw the loan shark. Maybe that's why they designed this for the loan shark to get the
Ugh.
coins. Um,
Okay,
I'm not
sure.
saying that's
That
good.
actually is, that is cool. That is
No,
cool.
I'm saying that's probably
But
why it was designed.
so in that situation, it's a 1 mana draw card. Yeah, it still's not good.
It's still not great. So we giving this like a 1.5 or one?
Yeah,
Or,
I don't like
oh,
this
I
card.
don't know.
I'm trying to think of the deck that has this card as a good card, and I just can't come up with it.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, in that case, that's when in our podcast we just move on. All right, Counterfeit Blade. Oh, I like this card a lot, by the way. Counterfeit Blade, 4 mana, 4/2 weapon. It's epic. Battlecry, gain a random friendly death rattle that gain a random friendly death rattle that triggered this game.
Or at least this card is awesome.
Yeah, this
I
card
think
is.
it's probably a 4 because if you play it on turn 4, it's going to be triggering off something small or not triggering at all. And if you play it on turn 8, it's going to trigger off maybe something big, but most likely it'll still trigger off something small, or it's 50-50 or whatever. So I think a 4 mana 4/2 weapon that has a small upside is probably a 4. I think that's where this lands.
You're just gonna pray to God you don't end up getting the 4 mana 5/7 before, because this one would actually hurt you pretty bad with Rogue to have to deal 5 damage to your face when it dies.
Oh yeah.
I honestly almost want to give this a 4.5. The only reason is because I think that a 4 mana 4/2 weapon in Rogue is really good. That's 8 damage. That seems
That's
like a
true.
real. I don't know.
I still think that lands it at 4.
I do.
But
I do agree with you. I'm just saying that my brain's like, man, I really like that. You can
like
tell
that
I'm
face
really into the reach right now with the meta.
You
you know,
are.
I really like reach right now because I'm finding with the core set, I think it really does push reach cards up into the priority a little bit here. So next we've got another SI7. We have SI7 Informant, 4 mana 3/3 Battle Cry, gain +1/+1 for each SI7 card you've played this game.
So the ones that we've seen so far, SI7 Extortion, the tradable 3 damage is one. SI7 Operative, the rush after its attacks gain stealth, or attacks a minion gain stealth. And then we always have a SI7 Agent and all that, but this card's not good enough. If you have to play 2 before it's good, and you have to play 2 before turn 4, and that's just so unlikely.
I'm not a mechanic expert. Does this count itself?
If it does, that's just weird.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't, because that would be a weird. Yeah.
That's a good question. If it does count itself, I think it's a 3. If it doesn't count itself, I think it's a 2.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's a good question.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
It should just say each other and be a 4/4 if that's what it actually does.
Yeah.
So I'd be disappointed if it did that.
Yeah.
I think it's a 2 based on that.
Yeah. That's fair. All right. So next we've got another SI. All right, SI7. Wow, they were really pushing this SI7 thing. SI7 Assassin, 7 mana 4/4, cost 1 less for each SI7 card you've played this game. Combo destroy an enemy minion.
This card's close. It's going to depend on your SI7 count, which is going to be low for now.
Yeah.
Unless you're lucky enough to have like 12 SI7 extortions or 2 operatives, 2 extortions and an agent. Yeah, no, I don't. I see this card as being fine. It's probably like a 2.5, but I'm not really excited to have this card. It's really like an 8 mana card. I don't love it. It's probably like no, it's probably not even that. It's probably like a 2. I think it's just too hard to play. Even if you played 2 other cards, it's still a 5 mana 4/4. So it's great if you can get it out of that, because that's Vilespine Slayer. But you have to do so much work for that.
And it's also hard to combo a 5 mana. I mean, if it was a 5 mana, that's not exactly the simplest to combo.
Yeah, I mean, but like we've had that experience with Vilespine Slayer, and that card was unbelievable. So, I think this card's probably like a 2.5.
Yeah.
And then a 3 in the right deck, or maybe even it's probably a 2.5 or like a 3.5. Honestly, is it actually just straight up a 3? Is it just a 3 because if it's a 6 mana 4/4, that's actually a good situation. It's a good card at that point. I think it probably is. It is. It definitely is, because Kidnapper's still fine. So this card's like a 3 to a 3.5.
Okay, sorry. For people listening on the podcast and not watching, I've been literally changing the star count for each time he changes the star count. And it looked really, I was just laughing because Kellen was going, it's okay. This is this is what you have to do in your brain when you evaluate cards. You have to, we have to consider all the possibilities to really get an accurate rating, but it was just kind of funny. So, all right, moving on. It's an interesting card, but, oh, okay. So that is all we have for Rogue. We are now moving on to the Shaman class. Our first card is Investment Opportunity. I just love the name of that. 1 mana spell, draw an Overload card.
Ugh. It's fine. It's not great. Well, you know what? Overload cards tend to be better because they tend to be better than average. So I think it's probably a 2.5. I think most decks not want it, but if I had the ability to tutor for the correct Overload card, I would want it. So.
I forget. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of this card, but you know what this really reminds me of really quickly is there was a 1 mana spell for Shaman that discovered a Battlecry card. The only reason I'm comparing it is it's a card where, like, when you initially look at it, you think, oh, this card's actually pretty good, but then when you really think about it, I just don't think it is as good. So I agree with the 2.5 rating.
Are limited. Yeah, I think it's a 2.5 most of the time. It's draw. It's not discover. If this had discover, I think it'd be a 3. But the fact that it's draw is not.
All right, so next we've got Overdraft, a 1 mana epic card. It's a Shaman spell. It's a tradable card. It unlocks your overloaded mana crystals to deal that much damage.
This card's fantastic, specifically because of the card that came out last set. If not for the card that came out last set, what card? The 1 mana deal 3 to an enemy minion, and then repeat that until it's.
You're talking about Perpetual Flame.
Perpetual Flame, yes. Perpetual Flame, I think, makes this card a very good card. If you have Perpetual Flame in your deck and you draft Overdraft, you're gonna be very happy. But otherwise, I think it's an average card. I think this sticks to the 2.5 to 3 range that every tradable card's going to stick with. This is closer to the 2.5 because it's harder to trigger than most things. But if you have Perpetual Flame, this card gets a lot better.
I mean, I know that this one, I almost wonder if this one's a 2, and the only reason I say that, I know it's a tradable card, but like, honestly, there could be decks where like you don't even get overload cards. You can't
trigger it. Yes, no, I agree. I think that's why on average I think it's a 2.5 because most decks. I mean, we already saw the only other Shaman card reviewed finds you a overload. So I think you're going to be able to do it, but I think it ends up as a 2.5 because unless I'm
gonna give it 2. I don't. This is the first tradable card that I've seen where like you actually. Again, you could just have a 1 mana cycle forever, which isn't the worst thing, but you actually could.
Honestly, in most situations, it's just Moonfire and trade. It's a tradable Moonfire, which is probably a 2.5. So okay.
Yeah. All right. So next we've got Auction House Gavel, 2 mana 2/2 weapon. After your hero attacks, reduce the cost of a Battlecry minion in your hand by 1. I mean, okay, just something to throw out there to start. It is very common to have Battlecry minions in Arena, so there is a little bit of a saving grace with this card with that.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward, though, because you can't guarantee you're going to have a Battlecry, so if you're evaluating it as just a 2 mana 2/2 weapon, it's probably like a 2. Weapons are decent, you know.
I think a 2.5.
Maybe 2.5, you're right.
I'd probably
be but
I'd be okay within my deck.
So, like, but again, I know it's deck dependent, but like just having Battlecry minions in general is pretty fair. I kind of wonder if this card will sneak up to a 3, just because
it will. Yeah.
I think it is. I want to give it a 3. I'm kind of throwing myself out there. I just think that it is because again, it's very common to have Battlecries, and Shaman itself also has a lot of Battlecries too. So
right. And we'll notice as we come up, there's going to be a few other interacts with that. So cool. Yeah, I do think it ends up being a 3.
Yeah. All right. So next we've got Bolner Hammerbeak. What a name. 2 mana 1/4. After you play a Battlecry minion, repeat the first Battlecry played this turn.
I think this is a 2 or a 4.
And yeah, this is one of those ones that's impossible to evaluate, really. Deck dependent, and I'm just going to move on.
100% deck dependent.
Yeah, but it might be kind of fun, and you might have a little fun memeing with this card.
I will. I know I will.
I know Kellen will. All right, so next we've got Charged Call, a 3 mana nature spell. Discover a 1-cost minion and summon it. Upgraded for each overload card you've played this game. Huh.
So it upgrades to 1 additional mana cost.
Yeah, for each overload. It's not how many. It's not how many over. Just for listening. It's not.
I don't like this card.
So it's not for how many overload. How much you have overloaded. It's for how many overload cards, which is different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I actually hate this card. I think this is a 1. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be enough the ability to draft a total sum of enough cards for this to work out. And if you do, then you still are looking at a random minion. So not for me. I think it's a 1.
Yeah, it's a 1. I agree.
Not the next card though.
Oh, well, I haven't seen this one. I'm excited. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I hear Kellen's excited, so I'm excited. All right, Canal. Sorry, Canal. Wait. Why can't I say Canal? Canal. I am really tired. I've had a really long week, so just Canal Slogger. Holy crap! 4 mana, 6/4 elemental, rush, lifesteal, overload 1.
Yeah, so that card's nuts. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's just significantly better than Tidal Surge or any of the other things. It's an elemental as well. It leaves its own body on the board, and they probably have to trade into it, so it most likely gains you 12 or at least 6 if you're trading up.
Yeah.
This card's this is probably like a 4, right? Like,
Yeah.
it might be a 3.5, but I think it's probably a 4.
Can I just take people through a funny story of my brain right now? Sometimes when I look at a card, my brain automatically thinks about what it should be worth. Okay, it's just I can't help it. So because I'm so tired, Kellen's talking about it, and I'm thinking I thought it was a 6 mana 6/4, and I'm like, that's not really that great. And then then he's like, it's a 4 mana card, and I'm like, oh shit.
You just read the card and you thought that, oh man.
I can't even say canal, so I mean, what does that say? But yeah, I think 4 is fair. It is. This one will be fun, and lifesteal minions typically their shaman can be very grindy, and these type of cards can be. This is a card that is going to trigger the crap out of you. I'm just saying.
Yes. Oh my God, it's gonna feel so much like Walking Fountain.
Yeah, exactly. So next we have Granite Forgeborn, 4 mana 4/5 elemental. Battle cry, reduce the cost of elementals in your hand and deck by 1. Oh wow.
That card's awesome.
What?
So that's a chill Wind Yeti with massive upside. The fact that it reduces
in
the
your
cost
deck
of elementals
too?
in your deck. What? Yeah, I think that's still just a no.
Yeah. No, well, this is the thing. Okay, here's my argument. Just hear me out. I mean, all the elementals that are pretty much draftable by Shaman are ones that you want to draft. Like most of them are like you take them. You just generally they're the cards that you take over the other ones a lot. So I think this is a 4.5 for me.
I think this is a 3.5. I think this is an above average card. I think it could creep up to 4, but I would be surprised if it was a 4.5.
And also, Kellen, there's also a ton of cards right now where the elemental tag matters for triggering other elementals.
I know. I still think, I don't know. I could get up to 4 potentially in the right deck.
But this might be another Sunwell Initiate. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I actually could see that I'm a little over on this one, but yeah. So Kellen's saying 3.5. This is the one where we actually have a little bit of disparity.
Finally, this is the first full point differential. Wow.
That's true. It's okay. It's allowed to happen. We're allowed to like some cards more than others. That's cool.
Fair enough.
All right. So next we've got Spirit Alpha. 4 mana 2/5. After you play a card with Overload, summon a 2/3 Spirit Wolf with Taunt. Oh, that's funny. It kind of plays off of the...
Yeah, it's a great callback. I love it.
Yeah. Is it good though?
If you can trigger it once, it's fine. So it really depends on the deck again. Like if you have investment opportunity into a card that is a cheap overload, but the problem is you have to overload the turn you play Spirit Alpha, and that's just so hard to do. And at that point in the game, you're like on turn 6 or 7. Does a 2/3 taunt make a massive difference on the board? Sometimes.
So So I want to mention one thing. We've talked about this in an earlier one of our very first podcasts when we started doing the Kelcast was that the meta was in a state where typically you would want to play the consistent line of plays all the time. Now you kind of have to like look for the combos, and that's important now with metas and stuff. So I would say that like 2 years ago, this card you wouldn't even look at this thing, but now you kind of the synergies they
Yeah.
end up presenting to you, you kind of have to push into them more than you would in the past. I'm not saying that
Definitely
makes this
upside.
card better, but I'm just saying.
I think this is it's another card, and Shaman is always like this, but this is a
Yeah.
card that's like a 2 or a 3.5. It's never
Yeah.
the best card in your deck, but it can often be a card that is good, but more likely it's a card that's bad.
Yeah, I'll just give it a 2.5, but it's hard to say. Again, this is a card where I think it's better instead of just pretending like we can give it a rating to say there's a range, and it just depends. So,
Yep.
so next we have Tiny Toys, 6 mana, Shaman spell, summon 4 random 5-cost minions, make them 2/2.
I actually like this card a lot.
I do too.
Your worst case scenario is 6 mana for 8/8. And your best case scenario is you get the worst possible minions to summon on an average summon a 5-cost minion card, and you win the game almost immediately.
Can I just throw this out there for 1 second? Let's chat. Let's remember. What card got nerfed to 6 mana last meta? Oh, yeah, Jandis. And what does it summon? It summons, what is it? Did it summon 5 mana minions? I think it did. And I think a lot of times when you play Jandis, like, you just won the game. Imagine playing a Jandis kind of, but now instead of summoning 2 of those, you get the chance to summon 4, double. And then you get Greybow, and then you get, this card?
Its worst case scenario is a 6 mana 8/8. I like this card a lot. I don't see the downside.
I think this has to be
I think it's
at least
a 4.5.
Yeah.
It's not the best card ever, but it's really it's a good card.
I think that its RNG aspect makes it hard to make it a 5, but like you're gonna hit this. There's gonna be a lot of times where you play this where it's for sure a 5. Like,
yes.
If you hit Greybow, there's certain minions with these 5 costs where even if you just hit one of them, that's the reason I really like this card. Is what I was explaining with Janice being good is now this card gives you double the hits to hit the high rolls. And sure, the stats aren't the same. Like, you're not getting the full stats, you're just getting the effects. But there's a lot of really strong effects for 5 mana. So really interesting.
Exactly.
So this is a cool card. All right. So moving on. Oh, never mind. We are now moving on to Warlock. So the first card for Warlock we're touching is Touch of the Nazarene.
Nazarism. I actually don't know how to say that. It's
I want to say so it's because I played 1 month of WoW for fun. I'm not playing it anymore, but that 1 month of WoW helped me learn how to pronounce some stuff that I didn't know how to say. So that's been fun. So now we have it's a 1 mana shadow spell. Deal 2 damage to a minion. If it dies, restore 4 health to your hero.
I think it's a 2.5.
Yeah. I mean, health is great, but like it needs to do more damage for it to be higher rated. And like I said, 4 health, it's decent. You're gonna take this and you're gonna be okay with it. But please don't draft this card just because it has the health aspect. Because I know there's people out there that are gonna be like, oh, health is so good, and it is. But like, please don't draft it just because of that. So like, think about it. It might be the right pick. I'm just throwing that out there. Right. So next we have Bloodbound Imp. It's a 2 mana 2/5 demon. Whenever this attacks, deal 2 damage to your hero.
Okay. This is probably a 3, honestly, but it's not a good 3. It's just like a 3 you put in your deck because the upside is good, the downside is bad. It's probably is it a 3? No, it's got to be a 3. It's not a 3.5. It's a 3.
Honestly, I would say 3 because I was honestly wondering if it's a 2.5, just because the stats are really good, but I'm just worried about the downside.
I think the problem is we live in a world of 2 mana 2/3s, not a world of 2 mana 3/2s. And if we lived in a world of 2 mana 3/2s, I think this card's a 3.5. But that's just not the world right now. So I think this ends up being a 3, just straight up. And it's good. It is good. Like, your opponent's going to have to make the value trade, or the actual trade, if you're going to be able to make your own value trade. So yeah.
Okay, I would go with 2.5. You say 3, but yeah, it's okay. It's not, you're gonna like not be looking to take it. All right, so next we have I love this look of this card.
This is my favorite one of these, by the way.
I don't even know what this does yet. Okay, Dreaded Mount. 3 mana, give a minion +1/+1. When it dies, summon an endless Dreadsteed. It's a Dreadsteed's back.
It is
Dreadsteed's back.
Dreadsteed, yes.
The ping, the power of ping, baby, it's back. This is
And
like
this
this
is
is the
why I think
ultimate.
it's so good.
Is this the ultimate power of ping card, Kellen?
It kind of is because it's in a class that doesn't have ping, but ping is really valuable in. It's it's a class that has a good ability to generate early game presence. I mean, we just talked about it, 2 mana 2/5, right? Yeah, I think this card's a 4 again. It's just
Yeah.
it could even be a 4/5, a 4.5, honestly, in this class.
Yeah, I think 4 is fair. I will say this about the card. It is a card that of all the mount cards, it has the least amount of initial impact. And its impact afterwards is not it takes a while to get the value out of what it is, but it can give you, the longer the game goes on, the more value it gives. So it's a cool card. I think it's a 4. I think that's fair, and I love
Yeah.
that Dreadsteed's coming back, and I'm going to be drafting this one gold immediately. Look at those golden little legs. Oh man, I'm so excited. All right, next we've got. Oh, why did they make all these cards? Rune Mithril Rod, 3 mana 0/2 weapon again. After you draw 4 cards, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. Lose 1 durability. Wait,
Wait, that's actually fine.
that actually one. This is this the first one that's fine? It seems fine.
The Paladin one almost works, but not quite. This one, I think, works. I don't think it's good, but I think it's a card I would be okay with.
Well, again, this is again. So for one of the things we keep mentioning in a lot of these classes, you just don't want to have your weapon slot like taken up. But in Warlock, it just doesn't really matter. So that is a consideration. You don't mind this just sitting there.
The problem is you don't want to develop. You don't want to delay your development with this card, so it's tough.
It
But
seems like the amount of mana you have to spend to get it out onto the board isn't really equaling up to the amount of mana you like reduce in your hand. So it's still not that good.
yeah, you're gonna have to have that mana cost reduction to catch up, and that's unlikely. Yeah, I think it still ends up as a 2, but it's much better than the other. I mean, it's not much better. It's better than the other ones, probably.
Yeah. I might say 1.5, but 2 is fine. I don't care. This card, I'm not going to really look at it.
We're not going to draft it.
Yeah.
Avoid it.
So, Dark Alley Pact, 4 mana shadow spell, summon a fiend with stats equal to your hand size.
I think this is designed for constructed.
Yeah.
It's fine on turn 4 in Warlock. It's awful after turn 4 in Warlock. So
this card for Arena would have to give them, the minion would have to get taunt for this card to have a chance.
Yeah.
It doesn't though, so I don't know why I'm saying that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's like one of those cards that's kind of a catch-up card if your game started badly. Like if you're on turn 2 and you have to tap, you're thinking like this game's over. I don't know what I'm gonna do in Warlock. I often feel that way anyways. And Dark Alley Pact really helps you out of that situation by giving you an additional.
The more I think about this card, the more I don't like it, because the thing is like late game you're getting like a 2/2 or something if you're like top decking, and then like if you play it mid game where it's like earlier in the game and you get a 4 mana 6/6 out of it, like okay, like that probably meant you tapped on 3 and skipped a turn. Like it just doesn't seem like it adds up to me. Yeah, I don't know. Is this like a 2?
It's either a 2.5 or a 3. I think it's like when you play it on 4, it's a fine card. So it's
I'll say 2.5 then. It's whatever. It's
oh no, I'll say 2.5 as well. I was thinking it had a 1/1 additional stat line, but no, it's probably 2.5.
Yeah. All right. So next we got Demonic Assault. 4 mana, deal 3 damage, summon 2 1/3 Voidwalkers with taunt.
Ooh, I like this card.
Yeah, this one's fun.
This dude does 3 things.
Oh, it is a
in
fell
one
spell,
card.
by the way. Yeah.
Oh, fell.
I think I might have said shadow, but it's a fell spell.
Oh, I didn't even. No, I just didn't hear it. Okay. I think it's a 3.5. It's a very good card. I like it.
Yeah, it kind of fits into the space of like the Fire Plumes of the world and the Scorp. I mean, they're not in that same class, but it's funny because they seem to make a lot of cards that on 4 mana deal like basically are board swings. They seem to love these cards.
Yeah.
So what are we saying? Is this a 3.5? You said?
Yeah, it could be up to a 4, honestly, in the right situation. But I think in most situations, it's going to be a 3.5. I think there are times where it'll be a 4, but I don't know.
Yeah, we've had cards in the past like this. We have the Hunter one that was 3 damage and deal summoned a 3/3, guy, and a couple other ones. I agree. Maybe it's actually a 4, but it's a good card. You'll like to draft this. It'll be fun to play. This one we've got Shady Bartender, 5 mana 4/4. It's tradable. Battlecry, give your demons +2/+2.
I think it's just a 3. It's a
Yeah.
card you're gonna want. It's a kind of like any of the other tradables that are not good cards by themselves. Like a 5-mana 4/4 give your demons +2/+2. That's fine if you have one demon, you'll be happy to play it, but it's not a busted card or anything.
Yeah.
And if you have 0 demons, it's not good. So but the tradable
Yeah.
brings it back up. So I think this is straight up 3.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, you trade this until, even if you just get it on one demon, then it's like a 5-mana 6/6, and you get the initiative of the buff, which is pretty good. So I think
Yeah.
a 3 is fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun card. I'm pretty excited about
I
this
love
card.
tradable. I'm
There's
so excited.
Kellen, I'm really excited about this set. I honestly, I guess I didn't really look through them as much as I normally do beforehand, and the design of these cards is like fun. Like it just
Yeah.
seems like a fun set.
I agree.
Anatheron, I don't know. 6
It's
mana,
a
8/6
0.
demon.
Oh, it's not a 0.
Wait, what'd you say?
It's not a 0, but its ability does nothing in
Yeah,
arena.
yeah. So yeah, it costs 1 if your hand is full. So
Yeah, it's a 6-mana 8/6, so I think that card's good. So it's probably a 3, a 6. Well, do you want a 6-mana 8/6 demon? I guess you do.
I don't really think this is that great right now because of Rush.
Sure.
Like it is actually pretty easy to deal this amount of damage. So it's
Wait,
probably
is
just
Claw Machine around right now?
it.
In the
Oh,
new meta?
yeah, it is, and it will be around for this set. Yeah,
Okay, well then, yeah, this card, I think that reduced the value. I still think it's probably like a 2.5. I'd probably give it a 3. It's
I'd
a
give it
lot.
a 2.
A 2. Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Well,
It's
just
just not
like
very
big
good. No, you're
stats are
right.
just
You're right.
they're just not that great anymore.
Yeah, you need another way to do something, and you'll never ever trigger that.
I mean,
Unless
is this
something's going
much
terribly
different? I
wrong.
mean, okay, like to me, like I look at this almost, then I think of like Salty Dog because it's like this big minion with like expensive minion, like tons of health. It does have, I mean, it has more health than Salty, but
You're absolutely right. No, you're right. That's probably a 2. You're
So,
absolutely right.
all right. So next we have, I love the art on this card. Sorry, it made me laugh. Entitled Customer, 6 mana 3/2. This better be really good. I don't know what. Battlecry, deal damage equal to your hand size to all other minions. Oh, that is actually
really
pretty good. Well, that was funny because I saw 6 mana 3/2 and I'm like, man, this better be a really good effect. That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I think this is a 4.
Where's okay? So for fun, like, where's the line where this card becomes bad? With like, you have 3 cards in your hand. So the minion itself counts, right? Because it no, it doesn't.
No,
Because
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't. You're right. No, it doesn't count. Huh?
I like this card at all numbers because you get to choose. So
Yeah.
you might want it to be 1. You might want it to be 2. You might want it to be 6. And you have the opportunity to make that decision yourself as the caster of the card. So I think this card's a 4.
Okay.
It's really hard to play around.
Yeah. I feel like this is the first card that I'm looking at that I'm like, man, I feel like this card's gonna be really triggering.
Oh, yeah.
And again, unfortunately for all of us, it's an epic, and unfortunately, the fact that it's an epic doesn't matter anymore. So that's a little scary. All right, so moving on, we've got. Oh, sorry, we are moving on to Warrior now. Is Warrior the last class?
That it is.
All right, we're almost on to neutrals. The joy and pride of Arena. We're getting close. All right, so we got Provoke. Oh, I love this card. I remember I read this one. Provoke, 0 mana, spell, tradable. Choose a friendly minion. Enemy minions attack it.
This card's nuts. I think this card is a 5.
Yeah.
This is a card that is so situationally unbelievable, and the situationally means most of the time. There are situations where it's bad, but this is like you get to choose which minion they attack, and I'm assuming because of how this has worked before, that enemy minions attack it means that the card that has been introduced to the battlefield first is the one that attacks.
Just like
first,
the True Crescent kind of idea.
Exactly. We have
Precedent.
Yes, precedent. Thank you. And that means this card is unfrickin' real because you choose which minions attack what. You can eat an entire board of minions for 0 mana if you play like a 6/7 or a 4/4 even. Like it's so ridiculous. And it's tradable. Why is it tradable?
And why is it 0 mana? I mean, wait. The fact that it is tradable, why is it 0 mana and tradable?
I don't know, dude. This has got to be a 5. I think this is a big time 5. I will take this card every time.
Do you think? I don't know why, but for some reason my brain feels like this might be one of those cards that I feel like this card could get nerfed pretty fast. Because I feel
Well, it's not gonna mess with Matt with oh, it could be.
that's what I'm
Yeah, it
saying.
could.
There could be some weird thing. I don't know constructed well enough to really know. Because
It
if
feels like a
anyone
card you
doesn't
could
know,
combo off with.
all nerfs are not based around arena. Everyone thinks they should be, but they're not. It's going to be based around only constructed. So it's
Yeah,
got to be broken and constructed to see the nerf in arena.
it could be.
But yeah, I think this is a 5. And oh man, the fact this is tradable. Holy crap! All right. Next we've got that's the quest. Next we've got Shiver Their Timbers. One mana, 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a minion. If you control a pirate, deal 5 damage instead.
Excuse me. So there are actually multiple good pirates in this set alone. There are 2 good pirates, and there's also good pirates in many of the sets that are being in this format. That exist in this format. I think this card's a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think the option, it's a high variance card. If you have a pirate, this card's completely ridiculously stupid, and I think that alone makes it worth taking.
Yeah, and like I said, this is a nice balanced card because you're not like 1 mana deal 2 is not going to like blow up the world, but the upside is really nice. So
it's a huge it's 2.5 times the initial damage.
yeah. So crazy. Yeah, cool. I like So pretty cool card.
And the next card is the best card to trigger it with too.
Oh, what is this? Ooh, this is like
this card.
This is like that elemental card for Shaman. Harbor Scamp, 2 mana, 2/2 pirate, draw a pirate. Well, I guess it doesn't discover a pirate. I mean, give you one for free, but it does draw one.
Yep.
Is this
it's a 3.5 or a 4. It depends on your deck,
thinking,
but it's a
yeah. I was kind of thinking.
Is it?
It's probably a 3.5. I was thinking 4, but that's probably being a little generous because
I think if you have the right cards in your deck, it is a 4. But 2 mana 2/2 draw card is a Loot Hoarder's been great forever, and it's been a 3-ish card for its entire existence. And this card is just straight up better than that. So in most situations.
One thing that Hearthstone has done over the past couple of expansions is, at least the way they've been designing cards is that basically for arena purposes, like these type of synergy type of cards are becoming easier and easier to draft, which I think is good for arena. I mean, it does raise the power level, but I think that it's become less about taking the safe, consistent card and more about like what's the card that is going to like do the most damage kind of thing. So next we've got Cargo Guard. It's a 3 mana 2/4 pirate. At the end of your turn, gain 3 armor.
We've seen this card before for Paladin, and it's awful. This card is not good.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a 2.
It is a 2.
Speaking of bad cards.
Yeah. Oh no, is there another one?
Yep.
Heavy Plate, 3 mana, but it's tradable, Kellen. 3 mana, 3 mana spell, tradable, gain 8 armor. I don't know, Kellen. Is this the first one that goes under a 2?
Yes, this is the only one that goes back to 2 because I think there's every single card that's tradable is at 2.5. This is the only one that I think goes down to 2 because the gain 8 armor option is just such a non-starter in Warrior.
I don't know. I might go to 1.5. The only reason I'm saying it's kind of like the other one that was like this because when it comes down to it, at the end of you keep cycling this because you're going to cycle this over and over again. Yeah. At the end of the day, like it probably has literally no impact. So it's just the cycle. That's all you're getting out of it. I don't know.
So, but what do you think a 1 mana draw card is worth?
I know, but this one, like, I know, I get it. I get what you're saying because we talked about this at the beginning, but
yeah,
just the fact that at the end it doesn't really do anything.
It's literally nothing most times. So. But it does literally nothing most times. There are 10% of games or whatever where 2%.
It's interesting. Yeah, we'll figure out. But everyone gets the point what we're saying. So, but it's tradable. So that it's not definitely something you'll sometimes take.
Yes.
Stormwind,
better than a bad card.
Exactly. Stormwind Freebooter. 3 mana 3/3 pirate. Battlecry, give your hero +2 attack this turn. Ooh.
I love this card. We kind of saw this with the Demon Hunter 3 mana 3/2, give your hero +3 attack if it's outcast, and that card was unreal. So I think this is about a 4 roughly.
Better stats, and it doesn't have the condition of where it is in your hand, so this is way better than that card.
Right, if you look at Fireplume Phoenix and you look at this card costs 1 mana less and it just takes your hero some damage. Yeah, I think this is a fantastic card.
I mean, Fire Plume Phoenix did make it pretty far in the Grand Arena tournament.
Yeah,
so
well. Okay.
I know that I took a lot of shit for that, but it's whatever. So is this a 4.5?
I think it ends up capping out at 4, but it could be a 4.5 in the right situation. It just sometimes it's going to perform like a 4.5, but most times I think it's going to perform like a 3.5 or a 4. I think it's a 4.
I think it is a 4 because the truth is there's going to be a lot of times where it's turn 3 and you can't not play your 3 and there's nothing to do with the 2 attacks. So in that situation, it's just a 3/3. So yeah, I think 4 is fair. So next we have Remote Controlled Golem. 4 mana 3/6 mech. After this takes damage, shuffle 2 Golem parts into your deck. When drawn, summon a 2/1 mech.
This is an awesome, cool card.
Wow, 3/6.
For 4. Already you're at Dragon. What is the 4 mana 3/6 that has Spellburst, get a +1 attack and taunt?
I don't know, but Spellburst is gone, so I don't give a crap about that anymore. I'm just kidding. I'm just so excited that Outland and Skullomance is gone. I had to throw that little in there.
Fair enough. But I mean, already at 4 mana 3/6, you're looking at a 3.5 or close, or at least a 3. You're looking at a 3 with that, and I think its ability bumps it to a 3.5. It's not going to blow anybody away, but it's correctly statted and already gets you a huge advantage over time. So I think it's a 3.5.
Yeah. All right. So next we've got Cowardly Grunt. 6 mana 6/2. Death Rattle, summon a minion from your deck.
No, thank you.
Yeah. 2 health.
2?
What?
Is it 2? Why does it have no tags? Why does it have nothing on it? It's just a card that does what it says.
I know people
There's
listening can't
else.
see this, but I don't know what it is about the art on this card, but this reminds me of that Lion card where I'm like, is this actually a Hearthstone looking card? It looks too plain. It's weird looking. I don't like this card. I want to give it a 1.
You're probably right.
It looks like shit.
It's a 6 mana card that deals 6 damage the first time, and then
Oh wait. Okay, Kellen, how many times do you think this is actually going to deal 6 damage? Though?
No, it's going to deal 2 to 3 damage. Yeah, that sucks. But okay, Recruit was like a 1.5. So this card is like a 2, right?
I'm giving it a 1. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't
know.
This
card sucks. I don't like it.
We hate it. All right. Lothar. 7 mana 7/7 legendary. At the end of your turn, attack a random enemy minion. If it dies, gain +3/+3.
This is Ragnaros, so I like it as an 8 or as a 5.
Yeah.
This card's stupid. You get to control exactly which minion it attacks most of the time when you cast this card.
Oh yeah, because you can do the trading. Yeah.
Right, and that just this card's dumb. I think this is a 5. This is one of the first 5s of the set. The fact that you get to control it. I don't know if you guys remember the Netherwing, that the black scale Netherwing, or what's it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
The 9 mana 9/9 dragon that they removed from Arena.
Oh, you're talking about it's just we call it Blackwing. I forget. There's another word in it, but yeah.
Anyways, this card is the same as that, except it keeps growing. So
it doesn't take the damage, but yeah, it's pretty. I don't know if I give it a 5, but it's definitely up there. It's good.
Okay, all right, 4.5 to 5. It's fantastic. You're gonna
really
play
good.
Lothar. It's gonna get a free kill, and then you're gonna carry on with your game.
All right, guys, it is now time for the pride of Arena, the neutral cards.
The cards are gonna see all the freaking time.
Yeah. All right.
It's a lot of bad ones.
I don't know if you guys listening can't see this, but the art on this card is so great. I need to look this one up. Elwyn Boar, 1 mana 1/1 beast, death rattle. If you had 7 Elwyn Boars die this game, equip a 15/3 sword of 1,000 truths. What the fuck?
Have you seen the South Park World of Warcraft episode?
I know it existed. I remember watching part of it, but I didn't think I watched the whole thing.
It is worth watching just so you know what this card's doing.
Okay.
So, yeah. This card's not good. This card sucks. It's a 0. Don't play this card. It's specifically designed to be a meme related to a South Park episode.
Can I just say that this card is giving me gibberer vibes? Like the look of this card makes me want to take it just because it's like so weird and ugly looking. I don't know. Maybe I have some issues. All right, next we got Peasant.
Maybe.
Next we've got Peasant. It's a 1 mana 2/1. At the start of your turn, draw a card. Ooh, I like this one drop.
Yeah, well, we've learned that this is a ability that actually works sometimes more than we expected. I still think this is just a 2.5 or a 3. Sorry, I think it's
Yeah.
an average card, but I don't think it's better than a 3. I think it is a 1 mana 2 that rises to the level of a 3, but not beyond.
This is just one of those 1 mana cards that's just like super fun and like
Yeah,
it does something and it'll feel good when it goes off once in a while. It probably has a
yeah,
really funny little like voice line when he like, actually like triggers. So it'll be
yeah.
fun, but it's not crazy. But
And then it'll
it's
get
fun.
free killed, and you realize you just spent a mana for their 2 mana, and you kind of generated a mana, but it's not important.
All
Yeah,
right. So next we've got Stockade's Guard, a 1 mana 1/3 battle cry, give a friendly minion taunt. Ooh, I like this one.
if it could target itself, I'd like it a lot more. The problem is on one, it's okay but not great. But it's just Dire Maul, which is a card you and I have both played a lot. So this is probably a 3. I don't
Hmm.
think the battle cry buffs it up beyond that, but I think it's just a 3 because the battle cry.
Yeah, it's hard. I might give it like honestly, I'd probably give it like a little bit over a 3, like 3.25 or something. But because like its ability can really save you. Like you can if you have a big body down and it's only 1 mana to put the taunt on it, which is really cheap.
Yeah,
I think I like this one a little more than you, but I'm not going to fight on like giving it a higher rating or anything. But I think this
it's
card's cool. I like it.
yeah, it just doesn't quite rise to three and a
Yeah,
half.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think it still ends up. It's a 2.5 that rises to a 3 because of its ability, not beyond.
yeah. Gotcha. So next we have a legendary card, Auctioneer Jackson. 2 mana 2/3. Whenever you trade, discover a card from your deck to draw instead. Oh.
Yeah, I think that's a 3. I think it's
Oh.
another one of those examples of a 2 mana 2/3 that's ability almost never works, but when it does, you're really happy. So I think it's a 3.
What if you discovered a card and it lets you discover another trade card? And you trade into the trade into the trade.
So then you spend a bunch of mana and didn't do
I
anything
know.
but discover cards.
I'm trying to think it through.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So anyway, moving on. We've got Deep Run Engineer, 2 mana 1/2 battle cry. Discover a mech. It costs one less.
I like that card quite a bit, actually, as weird as that sounds. But
Yeah.
do
So they used to make. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. They used to make understated discover cards, and now they've kind of become obsolete, like jeweled scarabs and stuff, because they ended up just being way too bored. Like, but this is similar, but the difference with this one is you get the mana back, so
yeah,
that makes it a lot better. I noticed they're doing a lot of these like affecting mana cost, which is a smart
right.
way to like kind of get around it a little bit. So I like
Yeah,
this card.
I think it's a 3 that could end up jumping to a 3.5.
Yeah, I was gonna give it a 3.5. That was my initial thought. I
Yeah,
think,
I could see that.
but
It's a
at the
really good
same time,
card.
I
I
don't
like
know
it.
off the top of my head. This is all dependent on something that I don't really know, which right now, which is exactly how many good mechs there are. I know there's Claw
Sure.
Machine. I think it's probably a 3.5, but um, it could be technically a little higher or a little worse if the mechs aren't as good as I think. But I'd have to research
Yeah.
it a little more. Next, we've got Encumbered Pack Mule, 2 mana 2/3 beast taunt. When you draw this, add a copy of it to your hand. Huh.
Is is that a 3.5? It is, right? It's just a 2 mana
Yeah, it's got
2/3
to be
that
a little
draws
better than a
people.
2/3 because you get more taunts to play, and
Yeah, you get it's a
there's
4 mana 4/6 that's flexible. Yeah, it's a 3.5.
yeah, that's a cool card. It's a
Yeah,
really
I like
nifty
that.
card, and
Fun.
yeah, huh. Another really weird but cool design. All right, so next we've got Florist. It's a 2 mana 2/3. At the
Another
end,
2 mana 2/3, by the way. This is the format we're gonna live in. It's gonna be 2/3 for 2
oh okay.
central.
So this one's a 2 mana 2/3. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a nature spell in your hand by one. I mean,
Ooh, Druid is gonna love that with the things they've got going on.
yeah. In most classes, this is just a 2.5.
Yeah, it's a 2. I mean, I even say it's a 2 in most classes.
Okay.
In Druid, there's a chance where it can go up to a 3, though.
Yeah, so basically in Druid Shaman, it might go up a
Yeah.
little bit, but other than that, yeah. But yeah, cool cards.
Yeah, I like that.
So next we've got Mailbox Dancer. What the fuck is this
That was
name?
the opposite of Loan Shark.
Oh, okay. So we have a 2 mana 3/2 battle cry. Add a coin to your hand. Death Rattle. Give your opponent one.
In Rogue, this card is fantastic because it
Yeah,
gives you two options. It either lets you combo off the turn you play it because it's a 1 mana 3/2 in those situations, or it allows you to develop a turn with a coin later on. So I really like it in Rogue. It's probably a 3 in Rogue, but I think in most classes it's a 2.
yeah. Fair enough. All right, moving on. We've got Pandarin Importer. 2 mana 1/3 battle cry. Discover a spell that didn't start in your deck. Oh, what a we. Okay, that's cool.
So if we look at Notice by Historian, this card's just got to be good, right? It's just a 2-mana 1/3 that discovers something. Unless we have all the best cards, I think this is still like a 3, right?
Oh, Kellen, I just thought of something. I'm sorry to like throw this in the middle of our
Oh,
evaluation, but holy crap, I'm gonna hate this in Demon Hunter. Oh my god. Oh
you're
god,
right.
this is gonna be so awful for Demon Hunter.
No,
From
all the bad Demon Hunter decks finally are good.
well,
We had one chance to avoid cycle and expendable, and here we go.
is this card
Oh,
a? It's probably just a 3.5, right?
I think it's a 3. It's a 2-mana 1/3 draw card, which is a fine card, but it's like Loot Hoarder's a 2.5 right now. I think this card's just jump only
I
gets
don't know
better.
though.
Just
With discovering a spell that's pretty useful. You can get some really good utility out of that.
That's true, but it's a spell that didn't start in your deck. So if you have good cards in your deck, the card gets worse. So I think that's one. It's weird. The better your deck, the worse this card is.
And the
But
worse
the
your deck,
worse
the
your deck,
better.
the better it is. So it's
I love that.
tough.
Yeah, hard to evaluate. So yeah, based on what we just said, would go somewhere between like a maybe even a 3 to a 4 or something. I don't know. It's hard to say, but like we said, the worse your deck is, the better this is. The better your deck is, the worse this is. So
Absolutely.
very cool. They're really pushing us on our evaluation skills. Next one we've got. There's a neutral SI card. That's interesting.
Yeah.
SI7
Probably another one
Skulker.
somewhere too.
SI7 Skulker. It's a 2-mana 2/2 stealth battlecry. The next card you draw costs 1 less.
Wow, I actually love this card. I think it's a 3. I mean, I love it because of its flavor and I don't know. I just think it's a cool card, but I think this is probably a 3. It's a 1-mana 2/2 stealth. That's just a 3. So
I mean, I gotta say though, if you play this and you get lucky enough to draw a 4-drop, this thing is so good.
oh my god.
Like
Or
I'm
if
just
you
saying,
get
I
lucky
know
enough
this.
to hit one of your like your 7-mana 4/4 that has the
Yeah,
battle cry or the combo if you
yeah,
know
yeah,
cost one less for a thing for SIs and kills a man. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so next we've got Stockade's Prisoner, 2-mana 5/4,
What?
starts dormant. After you play
Oh.
3 cards, this awakens.
Oh, it's an interesting take on Dormant.
Yeah. You know what's
That
funny is I
card's
thought I thought
good,
we were I
right?
thought we were losing dormant because of Ashes of Outland, and now we got all these dormants.
I think this card is a 3.5, 3.5. It sucks off the top of your deck, but so does Vile Fiend. And
Well, the thing is that the one difference though is Vile Fiend actually has Rush, so when this comes out, it's just sitting
oh,
there.
that's true. That's true, but it's only play 3 cards, so you can trigger it whenever you want, kind of.
It's kind of if this was 2 cards, it would be like a real.
Oh, it'd be busted.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
but like yeah, it's by the time it's triggered, it's so you play
I
it 3, 4, 5. So it comes down on turn 5 and then doesn't attack till turn 6 in most situations, unless you have really cheap. If you have a cheap deck, it's different. But if kind of average, you might play this on 6. You might get lucky, play it a little earlier, but then they have the ability to trade into it. Hmm.
I think this card's probably a 3. I think it's
Yeah.
complicated enough. It's too difficult to make it a 3.5 or a 4, but I think I'm happy to put this card in my deck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. This is going to be one that's going to be really fun to mess around with. So next we've got Enthusiastic Banker, 3-mana 2/3. At the end of your turn, store a card from your deck. Death Rattle, add the stored card to your hand.
That's a 3.5.
Yeah.
3 yeah, 3.5. I think a 3-mana 2/3 draw card is at this point a 3.5, right? Or is it just a 3?
Oh, so it looks for a card. Wait, it can be any card, I guess, huh?
It's just random. It's just random. I think it just
Huh.
draws you a card from your deck and
So
store
let me
and
have
just
3/2 draw a card, and when it
it's
you.
it's 1 mana for 2 stats. It's straight up just loot hoarder in almost every situation unless
Yeah.
it can live. So I think the fact that it can live brings it up to a 3.
Yeah, I was between a 2.5 and 3, but I'm fine with going with a 3. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fact that it can sometimes draw you 2 cards instead of
Yeah.
one, I think.
So next we've
Worth
got Entrapped Sorceress, 3-mana 3/4 battle cry. If you control a quest, discover a spell.
Nope.
This
It's still a 2.5, or it's probably a 2.5, but
well,
or
I'll be
a 3
honest
in
with
the
you.
right deck.
In the past, they may not let this be an arena. I'm not sure.
Sure, fair enough.
Some of these they've had these quest cards and they have. I'm not sure. So we're not sure if it'll be an arena. I haven't confirmed. I didn't think about this one, but If not, it's a 3, but just because it's a 3/4, but it might not be an arena. So just so you guys know that I'm not sure. All right, so next we're moving on to Flightmaster Dungar. He is a legendary 3-mana 3/3. Battlecry: choose a flight path and go dormant. Awaken with a bonus when you complete it. Oh, this is the one that like I don't know if this will be an arena. Probably.
No, I think this one's not, right? Because it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. This is a card that's too hard to review because there's too many details and we don't know if it'll even be there. So we'll have to look at this in the future when we see what's going on with it.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be interesting. So yeah, we'll have to move on from that one. All right, so next we've got, I remember this is one I saw early. This is one of the first tradables they showed. This is Impatient Shopkeeper. It's a 3-mana 3/3. Tradable and rush.
Yeah, this card's so sick. It's gotta be a 3.5 or a 4, right?
Yeah, I'm in that range too because, 3-mana 3/3 rush is not crazy, but the fact that it's tradable and if you don't need it, you just trade it, and then eventually it's gonna, at some point that 3 rush is going to matter. So I say 3.5. Maybe it's a 4, but I was gonna say
No, I think you're right. 3.5 sounds good to me.
Yeah. So next we've got Nobleman. It's a 3-mana 2/3. Epic card, Battlecry: create a golden copy of a random card in your hand. Oh, baby, this is my card.
It definitely is your card. This is also Zola, right? Isn't this just?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not Zola. It's in hand, so that's a little easier to trade.
And it's got an extra stat point.
Yeah, this is probably. Oh man. Wait, this is just like a 3.5, right? It's just significantly better than. Oh, it's the same as Enthusiastic Banker, but you get to choose. Oh no, it's random, so it's just a 3. Never mind.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird. It's like these cards that are like this shows that they're good design, but there's so many weird little nuances to a lot of these cards, But cool. Yeah. I'll definitely like this card because it makes golden cards. Yes, all right, so Northshire Farmer, 3-mana 3/3, Battlecry: choose a friendly beast, shuffle 3 3/3 copies into your deck.
Not good most of the time. It's most of the time a 1.5. But sometimes it's a 2.
Well, I mean, 3. I guess is a 3. Are we saying that a 3-mana 3/3 is not a 2?
I don't think that's even a 2. A 2 is a River Croc. So if a River Croc's a 2, this is worse.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm just trying to think. My brain. I'm just trying to think. Okay, yeah. So 1.5.
I hate this card. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that one.
Well, to be fair, in Hunter and Druid, this card will go up a lot. I mean, not a lot. Yes. Well, it'll go up some. Sorry, I'm not saying it's going to be like a 4, but you'll like it in those classes, and you'll probably look to draft it. It'll actually be fun in some of those classes, to be honest. But
it definitely will.
All right, so next we've got Package Runner. It's a 3-mana 5/6. This is going to be a really terrible card, I bet. Can only attack if you have at least 8 cards in hand.
Yep,
I was right.
No, thank you.
0. That's moving on. All right, next we've got Restaurant Viper. 3-mana 3/4 tradable. That makes me happy already. Battlecry: destroy your opponent's weapon.
And it's a beast?
And it's a beast.
Okay, that's like a 3.5 to a 4. It's probably a 4, right? That's too flexible. That ability is insane.
That lets you if you're playing a weapon class and they haven't played your weapon and you need to trade, you can trade your card and wait till later.
That's a 4. I think this card's nuts. I'm so happy about this.
Yeah. I'm so excited about tradable. It's like my favorite mechanic. It's almost like, feels like it's more developed for Arena than anything else.
Oh, totally. Well, yeah.
Anyway, maybe they finally thought about Arena. I don't know. Or maybe it's just we got randomly lucky. Next, we've got Traveling Merchant. It is a 3-mana 2/3 tradable card. Battlecry: gain +1/+1 for each other friendly minion you control. Wow. That's really good. Just because it's tradable, because you can just wait for the right situation, and then even if you just have one minion on board, it's a 3-mana 3/4, and if you don't need it, then you just trade it.
Yeah, I think it's 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a 3, honestly, because it is more.
I was gonna go 3.5.
Yeah, Frostwolf Grunt is a Frostwolf Warlord, but whatever the 5-mana 4/4 is a great card. So yeah, I like.
And this is easier to get down because it's a lot cheaper than that one. So I like 3.5 on this one.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. I like this card a lot. That one's going to be fun golden too. All right, next we've got Two-Faced Investor, 3-mana 2/4. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a card in your hand by 1. 50% chance to increase. What the hell? 0?
Wait, no.
Wait.
No, it's worst case scenario is a 3-mana 2/4 that at the end of the turn reaches the cost of your hand by 1.
Wait.
Oh, no, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, no, that card sucks. Never mind. Wait. Yeah, no, that's awful.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Get that out of here. Don't play this card.
I'm just saying 0. Let's move on. Okay.
Yeah,
Next
sometimes
card.
by the way, the 50% chance means sometimes it reduces the cost of a card and sometimes it increases the cost of a card. So the average net mana is 0 and the card is an understated minion. So
Yeah.
no thank you.
Next we've got Cheesemonger. 4 mana 3/6. Whenever your opponent casts a spell, add a random spell with the same cost to your hand. Hey, that's pretty good.
That seems great. It's just a 3. It's a 4 mana 3/6, so it's a 2.5 to start, and then it gets the extra bonus from its ability. That seems like
Wait,
3
isn't
to
it
me.
4 mana 3/6 at least a 3? That's better than a
No,
river.
it's the same as Chillin' Yeti, right? It's the same stat total.
6 health matters though. I don't know, maybe right.
3/6 is better in a world of 2/3, so maybe right now we're at a slight bonus there. Okay, I could go up to 3.5 on that, sure.
And it makes your opponent, you get just free
Not play
spells.
Yeah.
I think it's a 4.
Really can't. Yeah, I think it's 3.5, but yeah.
I'm gonna go for it. I might be wrong.
Ooh, wow, that's strong.
You're gonna hate the day that you came against Cheesemonger, Kellen.
Yeah, I'll rue the day that I want to win it.
I'm giving it a 4. But
I think it's a 3.5.
All right, it's okay. We've had a couple that were a little off on, but it's okay. It's fun. Next we've got Guild Trader. It's a 4 mana 3/4. It's tradable. It's and spell damage +2. Oh, this is interesting because situational spell damage. Oh man.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't like this card.
Well, here's the problem. The spell damage itself, even though it's situational, is still really expensive, even in the situation where you need it.
Exactly. You can't even play it alongside a Flame Strike. Yeah, I think it's a 3. It's fine. It's not going to be the worst card in your deck, but it's not going to go above a 3 for me just because it gets the tradable, thank goodness. But
yeah, the tradable thing saves this card. And again, I am really hoping, I am praying, and maybe Blizzard listens to the Kelcast, I don't know. But I'm just saying that I really hope that this is one of those. This would be a mechanic that would be healthy for the game, that they could actually I think Discover to a certain point became unhealthy, but I think tradable could actually be a thing that should stick around after the set. I don't know if it will, but that's my take on it. All right, next we've got Royal Librarian. It's a 4 mana 3/4 tradable again. Battlecry, silence a minion. Ooh, baby.
This is a good one. This has 4 additional stats on Ironbeak Owl for 1 additional mana, and it also has tradable. I think this card is a 3.5. I love this card.
I was going to say 4.
I think that's a little strong because there's a lot of situations. Well,
silence is good, Kellen.
So is tradable.
I think it's a 4.
Go. Let's go. Let's give it a 4.
Yeah,
I love Royal Librarian. I really like this
It's late in the night. We can give it up to 4. We can do it.
Is that how it works?
I don't know. All right, so we've got Spice Bread Baker. 4 mana 3/2 Battlecry. Restore health to your hero equal to your hand size.
Ew. Yeah, nope. That's a 1. Maybe a 2.
1.
Nope. That's a 1. I don't like
That's a 1. Yeah. I love sometimes when Kellen's tries to give it the pity star, and then he's like, yeah, no, it's a 1.
Yeah. I tried. I did.
You did try. It's cool. All right, so next we've got Stubborn Suspect.
Okay.
4 mana 3/3. Death Rattle, summon a random 3-cost minion. Ooh, that's fun.
That's like a 3.5, right? It's 6 mana worth of stats.
It's a solid card.
It's more like 5 mana worth of stats, but that's still worth it for.
Is that just a 3 or is that a 3.5? It's close.
I think it's probably it's close to a 3 in this world, in the meta we've developed into, in the world we've built. But
yeah.
I'd be very happy if this is my 4-drop. I just feel like my 4-drops are going to be filled with tradable minions. So
yeah, I think you're right. 3.5. 3.5.
Yeah.
It's close. Sometimes it's funny. Me and Kellen rate a card, and then at the end of it, we end up listening to the other person's point, and then we switch.
Yeah.
I've noticed that happen a couple times. All right, so next we've got Battleground Battlemaster. 5 mana 5/5. Adjacent minions have Wind Fury. Oh, I like this card.
Me too.
I mean, it is a bad card as a 5/5, which right now I will admit a 5-mana 5/5 is about as bad as it could be right now. But the effect is like you could do so much burst with this. This is
Yeah, I think this is still just a 3, but I think the ability brings it up to a 3, where a 5-mana 5/5 would be like a 2.5 right now.
I might be wrong. I feel like this could be a 3.5. But I think in the again, this is situational. In the classes where the burst really matters a lot, like Druid and Hunter and I don't know, like some of these other classes, I do think it could be a little bit higher, but I'm fine with a 3 and a 3.5, whatever. But this is a card that you're going to be really triggered to lose to because they're going to have like an 8 damage minion on board, and they're just going to play this and kill you. Are you sure this isn't like a 3.5?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm feeling pretty sure this is a 3. There are times when it will work, but it is very specific times. So I don't feel nervous about this card being too powerful.
I'm giving chat the secret rating.
I saw your hand. Nice try. Yeah, I don't feel the same way. It's like yes, the upside of this card, the situations where it's good, it's really good.
Yeah.
But the reasons it's good are because it bursts your opponent down when you already had a board. This card is almost, I mean, I think 90% of the time it's going to be a 5-mana 5/5 that you just play from your hand, and it may deal 2 damage to the opponent. What is a 5-mana 5/5 that deals 2 damage to an opponent worth? And and that's not even its worst case scenario. Its worst case scenario is a 5-mana 5/5, which is a 2. So
my argument though is that Wind Fury, this is giving Wind Fury initiative because it's on the board. Now you have to have a board, so I mean I get that.
That's not initiative. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't give you initiative.
But I mean, you don't normally when you play a Wind Fury, you have to play it, and then like it has to live. This one, the stuff is already when you're playing this is typically already on the board, ready to go, and the Wind Fury is there. So like it's interesting. I definitely think this is a card that. And again, it is going to be better in certain classes, but I'd be comfortable definitely giving it a 4.
What, a 4?
Hey man, okay. I gotta make some juicy ratings for the podcast. You know, I gotta give some.
I'll be looking forward to discussing this card in the future with you.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, this is a good one. This is a fun card that's going to be really interesting to see how crazy or it might be worse than I think. We'll see.
It's just gonna be a normal card. I think. I don't see it making waves.
We'll see.
Yeah,
some will initiate, I'm just saying. All right, next on. So
there's no health, by the way, to those things. 0 health, so they can't make any trades. They just.
All right, so next we got Lion's Guard. It's a 5-mana 4/6 battle cry. If you have 15 health or less, gain +2/+4 and taunt. Oh,
that's miserable to play against.
Wow, that's really sucky if you're the opponent and they play a 5-mana 6/8 and you're dying.
Yeah, I don't.
This is like a bog creeper when you want it to be, and it's just a decent static card when you don't need it to be.
It's like normal stats. So it's like automatically. It's close.
Oh, like 6/10. What am I saying? It's a 6/10. 6/10. That's even better. I thought for some reason my brain said 2/2, but it's a 6/10 when you have to taunt, not 6/8.
It's got to be a 4, right?
It's got to be at least a 4.
No, I think it's just a 4, but the upside is. Well, I don't even know if it's that.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, if you're playing a 5-mana 4/6, like that's true.
Bad.
Like, yeah, I mean,
6/10 is miserable.
Especially when it's 5 mana, like your priest, and you can heal on top of it. You know what I mean? Yep. Like that kind of thing. There's certain classes where this is just going to be it's going to be.
Or if you're Demon Hunter and you've used all your mana to make value trades with your hero power, and now you just play.
Or you purposely put yourself under 15 as a Demon Hunter so that you can get the big stats.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's going to be miserable.
Or Rogue.
Yeah, that's a 4.
Yeah, so I think it's a 4. All right, next we've got Stormwind Guard. 5-mana 4/5 taunt battlecry. Give adjacent minions +1/+1. Ooh, that's fun.
I like that. I like that a lot better than Wind Fury.
Yeah.
Just want to remind you, you gave the Wind Fury one a 4. So.
Well, I like this card a lot. It's taunt with stats, but it's also got like a Fungalmancer-ish attack. Well, there's it's like got a wriggling horror effect basically, but you get a taunt with it. I mean, I gotta give it a 4.5. I gotta stick it to my guns.
Oh my god, are you kidding? Jesus Christ.
Next card. I'm just kidding.
Okay, let's move on. I think it's a 3.5 to a 4. Oh my lord.
Well,
okay,
I mean, I would probably. I mean, to be fair, I'd probably give it a 4.1. But it has to be higher than the other one. So we're good. All right, next card, City Architect, 6-mana 4/4, Battlecry Summon. What is this? Battlecry Summon 2/05 Castle Walls with Taunt. What?
They are just 0/5s with taunt.
This is like Is this? Well, it's more health. Remember that card that was the 6-mana 4/5 that summoned to 0/5? There was like that.
Yeah, the 4-mana 3/2. Oh, the safety treasure chest.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah. That card was better than I thought.
Yeah, it did. It was. It wasn't good, but it was like not.
Yeah, right. But it was not as bad as you would think looking at it.
And this card is really similar, but maybe better, but maybe worse. Yeah.
This is just one of those cards that's just like omega annoying.
It's just super annoying.
But that's not bad. Super annoying can be good.
I think this card's probably like a 3.5. It's just a card you'll put in your deck and not be mad.
That's what I'm saying. Like it like first you're like, okay, sure, like whatever. Like there's
no,
zero.
it's just a 3. It's just a 3. This is a card you'll put in your deck and be happy. It's like would you take Spider Tank over this? I don't know, but it'd be competitive, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, this is this is a little deck dependent. Like if you're a slower class and you need to protect your health and like you have enough other good cards and this comes up, you might like look at this card a little more, but it's interesting.
Yeah. It's very Arcano-smithy. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next we've got Cornelius Rome, 6-mana 4/5. At the start and end of each player's turn, draw a card. Oh. So 2 cards.
6-mana 4/5, draw 2 cards. Is what it really is. So that's a good card. I would very happily play that card. And then sometimes you win the game. Because if you ever get to untap with this, you win the game immediately.
So wait, if they can't kill it, then that draws 2 cards before your turn again.
Yeah, so you draw 4 cards if you get to start your turn with it.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's 6-mana 4/5, draw 2 cards. That's already that's a good card.
Is this
wow,
a
that's
5?
A good card.
Maybe
I think it's a 4.5 because it doesn't actually give you board presence back. Untap. Sorry, I said untap. My bad.
Yeah.
And
I do think that 5 health, even though the effect is crazy, typically you're right. It's just going to be 2 cards, and it's pretty easy to remove 5 health with Rush. So even value trade your rushes or whatever. So like with a Rustied Raider kind of thing, whatever. So I think 4.5 is fair.
It's a fun one. I like that.
Next, we've got another legendary, Lady Presser, 6-mana 6/7. Transform minions in your deck into random dragons.
Whoa, wait. They keep their original stats and cost?
Yep. I didn't get to read that, but yes. The next thing it says, no, it's okay. So it does that, and then transform minions in your deck into random dragons. They keep their original stats and cost. Yeah.
Well, is that insane? Like, if you get any legendary dragon, it's absolutely nuts. Every single one that turns into a legendary dragon is bull crap.
There's not really bad dragons anymore. There are, but there's not many.
Yeah, no,
this is a 5.
And it's a reasonably statted minion with no downsides, so it's a 5. Because it doesn't even mess up your spells that are already good.
You might just end up with drawing 3 Ysairas for the next 3 turns.
Yeah, that's a 5. You just draw 3. I mean, if this comes into play, it's like a normal card. The game progresses as normal. It's not like
the problem is that like there's no way where like the way that the dragons are, there isn't really a situation where like there's not a situation where you're going to end up spending more mana than it's worth. You're always going to be either the same or less, pretty much. So that makes it's just crazy. All right, so moving on.
Oh man, get a Mage Scribe off this. That's disgusting.
This is like oh my god, this is like that doctor card. This is funny. Moarg Forge Fiend, 8-mana 8/8 taunt, death rattle, gain 8 armor. Wait, this has taunt though. It's not the same.
Yeah, no, this is a 3. I think it's a much better card than that last one. It's going to be so hard to kill people in this meta. There's 6-mana 4/4s that summon 10 health of taunts. There's Druid cards that summon 14 health of taunt for 6 mana.
Man,
there's this card that is 16 health. Yeah, Druid Hunters. I'm kind of like I want to renege on my rating on that 3-mana deal 3, make your hero power deal 2 more damage card for Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard to kill anybody.
Well, it doesn't. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, but we don't make the ratings based on the meta exactly. But I guess it is part of it.
It changes.
But it is I know what you're saying. So we're good. Yeah, 3 is fine with this card. We're almost done there. We're getting close.
This might even be a 3.5. Honestly, it's just
Yeah.
such a good saving my butt card.
So next we got Varian, King of Stormwind. I'm sure this is going to be a crazy card just because it's like the card of Stormwind. Let's see. 8 mana, 7/7, legendary. Battlecry. Draw a rush minion to gain rush. Repeat for taunt and divine shield.
Okay. 8 mana, 7/7. Draw 3. 8 mana, 7/7. Divine shield, taunt, rush. Draw 3 cards. Yeah, it's
So as long as you have all 3 of those, you get all of them. Yeah.
Well, I think this set has proven that it is not going to be difficult to achieve those things. As well, Divine Shield's going to be tough, unless you're Paladin. But if you're Paladin, this card's a 5. I think
So if you don't
Paladin,
actually have the minion, like you don't have a top minion left, you just will skip it then, I guess, right?
yeah, and you don't get the value for the thing.
Right.
But Paladin is.
But you get to draw it too. Wow,
Divine Shield.
This is a 5, right?
In Paladin, I think it's a 5. In every other class, I think it's not. I think it's a 4. But because it's a 8 mana 7/7 rush, really is what it does. It has a taunt 2 or whatever. But draw 2 cards. Shoot.
It's a 5.
Yeah. I think in Paladin it's a 5 straight up. I think in other classes you're in deck dependently it could be between a 4.5 and a.
That's
3.
fair though. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. All right. This is the last card of the set. We've got Goldshire Knoll. It's a 10 mana 5/4 rush. Costs 1 less for each other card in your hand.
I don't like this card.
Wow, this is one of the worst rush cards I've seen.
It's always not quite costed right. Just because it costs 10 initially, the actual mana cost on it is always one off at least of what you want it
This
to be.
is like reminds me of like Clockwork Giant. Like it's kind of interesting, but like you're just always kind of screwed because it's just not quite enough whatever you need to make it actually be like relevant.
Exactly.
So it's
it's so close. If it was 9, it would be a good card. It's not though. So
is it a 1?
I think it's a 1, and in the right Warlock,
maybe it's more. I mean, a 5/4 rush.
Yeah, it's a 2. It's probably
it's a 2. Yeah.
And in the right Warlock deck, it's probably a 3. So it just depends. But yeah.
Wow.
That's every card.
Yeah, we have done it.
We did it.
So what episode are we on now? Is this 27 or 28?
27. We're on 27.
Actually, this might be 28.
Is it 26?
I don't know.
Dude,
what episode?
I'm lost. It's been a long.
Yeah, this is episode 27. 27.
27.
Holy
okay.
crap! This has been a crazy long thing, but yeah, we did it. All right, so, well, guys, that's gonna do it for the 27th episode of the Kelcast. You can join us live 8 p.m. Eastern every week on Twitch. You can download the podcast wherever you get your podcast every Monday. You remember you can also find me on Twitch where I stream daily at 7 a.m. Eastern, or you can go to YouTube or Twitter by searching Keludar. That's Keludar. Remember that we will not be doing a podcast for this upcoming weekend, but we will be back the following week with reviews of the meta and how the cards are doing. I am going to be throwing out it might actually be it might not be before the expansion release, but I am going to throw out a solo episode that's going to be basically a meta prep where I'm going to go over the cards leaving the meta that you don't have to think about anymore, and also the important cards from the old wild sets coming into the meta, just to kind of give you like a little bit of a what to play around, what to think about, that kind of thing, just as a refresher. I'll try to make it like a 20-25 minute episode or something, so that'll be fun. And maybe I'll even bring on a guest, I don't know. So we'll do that, but that's it. And then let's see what else I gotta say. Make sure to tune in next. Well, I told you about that stuff. So thanks to John Locks for the music used in the episode. Remember, you can find a link to all their contributors in the show notes. This has been the Kelcast. We'll see you soon after we get through playing all these new cards from United and Stormwind.
All right, Kel.
Okay.
I have nothing. I'm too exhausted. This is both my favorite. I love doing the set reviews. They're so much fun because we get to see all these new cards. We get to experience all this stuff. But I gotta say, I'm about to fall asleep in the next 12 minutes for sure. But God, they are fun to do. Seeing all this stuff, and this set had so much cool crap in it. I've never seen a set that has so many individually fun and like interesting new designs, old designs, whatever. But I'm about 6 minutes at this point from sleep. So.
But I am so fucking excited about this set and tradable. I'm so excited. I gotta get it out there so I can bleep. Let's
I
go.
do love
Let's
Traded
go.
Wolf.
Let's go. Let's go. It's
Let's
gonna be fun.
go!
Oh man.
All right, bye.
Bye.